Madam Clerk, let's go ahead and call to order the City Council meeting with roll call, please.
Councilwoman Zendejas.
Present.
Vice Mayor Allen.
Present.
Councilmember Duggan.
Here.
Councilman Supernaw.
Here.
Councilwoman Kerr.
Here.
Councilwoman Sorrow. Councilmember Uranga.
Presente.
Councilmember Ricks Odie. Mayor Richardson.
I am here. Well, welcome to the City Council meeting. Let's start off with a moment of silence and saluting our flag. I'm going to pass it on to Councilmember Supernaw to kick off the process.
Thank you, Mayor Richardson. Okay, please join me in a moment of silence. Okay, thank you. We have the great honor tonight to be joined by members of Girl Scout Troop number 1213, who will, they're here tonight to earn their Inside Government badge. So we thought rather than just observe government, they should participate. So they are going to lead us in the pledge tonight. So girls, please assemble at the podium. And will the audience please rise?
Right there.
Okay, everyone please face the flags, and ladies, whenever you're ready.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, well done. Let's hear it for our Girl Scouts for leading us in this Pledge of Allegiance. All right, so tonight we have, I believe, 3 hearings, a presentation, and our regular agenda. Let's start with, let's get the consent calendar out of the way. Oh, that's right. Making his return, we have Councilmember Roberto Uranga, who is with us this evening. I want to pass it over to Councilmember Uranga for some remarks.
The more things change, the more they stay the same. Gotta always be jumping on his shoulder. Hopefully I'm not too loud. Please pardon my speech. I'm still in recovery mode. I'm going through a lot of physical therapy, but it feels so good to be here, to see all of you. Thank you so much for all the well wishes that I received over the last 3 months for my getting well. And most especially for your well wishes on the moving on of my son, who left me last year, right around the same time that I had my incident. Those are how I felt. My heart is broken, but I have the nice thoughts that the audience, my constituents, the city of Long Beach really cared and came through and expressed their well wishes to me. So I really want to thank you for that. I want to thank my colleagues for their indulgence during this difficult period, that I went through, because it's not easy when you have someone. This is a family, and you are my family, and I officially want to welcome to the dais 3 new members of my family: Joni, Christina, Megan. Welcome to the City Council. Looking forward to the next 4 years, working, well, at least 2, working with you, and we'll see how it goes from here on out. We have a lot of work to do, and I'm really, thank you so much. I'm back at work. Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Uranga, welcome back to the dais. You've been missed, and it's so good to see you back in your seat. So now we're going to proceed with the agenda. Let's have the consent calendar, please. Okay, I see a motion. Is there a second on the consent calendar? There's a second. Great. Is there any public comment here? Seeing none, members, please cast your vote on the consent.
Councilmember Uranga. And Vice Mayor Allen. Motion is carried.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to our presentations. We have one presentation this evening for Kappa Alpha, 115 years of service, and I'll pass it over to Councilmember Ricks Odie.
Good evening, everyone. It gives me great pleasure to congratulate the sorority of Kappa Alpha Incorporated for their historic milestone of 115 years of serving the community. Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated was founded on January 15th, 2023 at Howard University, which is one of our historically black universities. And the local Theta Alpha Omega chapter was founded here in October of 1964, which means you all will be celebrating your 60th anniversary next year. I just wanted to mention a couple of noteworthy accomplishments from this wonderful, illustrious organization, which includes a lifetime membership in NAACP, career conferences for junior and high school students, contributions to service organizations, providing thousands of dollars in scholarships to our Long Beach area high school students, community food distributions in partnership with the Long Beach Center of Economic Inclusion, health fairs in collaboration with the American Red Cross here of Greater Long Beach Digs, and countless other community contributions. On a personal note, I know of the work of Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated intimately, as I have many family members that are proud members of this organization. And as a graduate student at UCLA, I actually received a scholarship through your Educational Advancement Foundation. So thank you so much, ladies. Thus, I applaud Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated on this illustrious achievement and thank the members of the Theta Alpha Omega chapter for giving me the honor of bringing this resolution forward. And with that, I believe there is a presentation on behalf of the chapter.
Good evening, and thank you to all the members of the Long Beach City Council and all elected members that are represented. We want to thank Councilwoman Joni Ricks Odie for scheduling this matter, and thank you to Councilwoman Zendejas for supporting this matter. We'd also like to recognize, just before I get started, other members of this body who are part of the Divine Nine, and that being Councilman Al Austin and Mayor Rex Richardson, who are members of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. I'm Tanua Thrash Intuk, and I'm here to narrate a short presentation to really honor Kappa Alpha sorority for its 115 years of service to all mankind. As was noted already, it was founded on the campus of Howard University, January 15, 1908. It was there that the women of Ethel Hedgeman, Anna Easter Brown, Beulah Elizabeth Burke, Lily E. Burke, Marjorie Hill, Margaret Flagg, Lavinia Norman, Lucy Diggs Slow, and Marie Woolfolk came together to start this organization. Next slide. These 9 women founded the organization on the basic tenets below: to cultivate and encourage high scholastic and ethical standards, to promote unity and friendship among college women, to study and help alleviate problems concerning girls and women in order to improve their social stature, to maintain a progressive interest in college life, and to be of service to all mankind. The 20 Pearls of Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated successfully incorporated the organization on January 29, 1913. Next slide. Today, Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated has initiated more than 300,000 women worldwide and is led by our international president, Donette Anthony Reed. She is the 31st woman to lead the organization, the first engineer, and is really the woman who is helping to make sure that we strengthen our sisterhood as her core tenet of activities. Over the next few years, from 2022 to 2026, we will be soaring to greater heights of sisterhood and service, and those initiatives will involve 5 areas. Next slide. Empower our communities, build our economic wealth, enhance our environment, advocate for social justice, and uplift our community. Next slide. Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated boasts 10 regions. The Far West region is led by our regional director, Shelby D. Bogany. The Far Western region is comprised of more than 4,000 graduate and undergraduate members in 9 states. Next slide. The Far West region's Theta Alpha Omega chapter, as was noted, was founded on October 25th, 1964, by a group of 19 local Alpha Kappa Alpha women here in the Long Beach area. Theta Alpha Omega's chapter is also responsible for laying the groundwork for establishing the undergraduate chapter at Cal State University Long Beach, which is the Lambda Alpha chapter. There is a strong alliance that continues between those 2 chapters today. Next slide. Theta Alpha Omega is very busy in the community, and this past year was no exception. You can see that we had a chance to participate in KGLH's Women's Health Fair, which was located here at the Long Beach Convention Center. Next slide. As was noted, Theta Alpha Omega and our Pearl Foundation awarded more than $14,000 in scholarship funding just in 2022 alone. Next slide. And Theta Alpha Omega makes sure that there is voter registration drives and participated this year at our Rainbow Lagoon in that. Next slide. In addition to that, we've participated in Long Beach Gives and was a co-sponsor of the Long Beach Candidates Forum. Next slide. And finally, to uplift our community, we've delivered a car full of toys and gifts. We give all year long, and we're very proud to be part of the 25th annual Adopt a Child for Christmas event in December. At this time, I'd like to bring up the president of our chapter, who leads us through this service. I'd like to bring up Ms. Terry Williams to thank the council for your recognition today.
Good evening, all, and to Dr. Joni Ricks Odie, who brought this forth to the council, and to all council members, we thank you on behalf of Theta Alpha Omega chapter. I also would like you to know that our chapter, Theta Alpha Omega, is ready to serve in all of your districts, and we look forward to working with you. Thank you.
We'll now turn it back over to the council.
All right. Well, thank you so much for this presentation. Do you have anything else you want to add, council member?
No, I just wanted to make sure we got a really wonderful picture with all the lovely ladies here.
We've got it covered. So if you come on down, we have a proclamation from the mayor's office. We want to recognize you on your 115th year of service. Please come forward.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Next, we'll hear hearing number 13.
Report from
Oh,
Development
I'm
Services.
sorry, before the,
Recommendation to receive.
Oh, I'm sorry.
sorry.
This is Councilmember Rixote. Before the item is read, I actually need to recuse myself because I was on Planning Commission when this came forward.
Okay, well, you can recuse yourself.
Okay.
So you say, I'm going to recuse myself in abundance of caution, something like that. Yeah, all right, good.
Report from Development Services. Recommendation to receive supporting documentation into the record, conclude the public hearing, and affirm the Planning Commission's determination, and find that the project is exempt from CEQA, and adopt a resolution approving a general plan amendment of 2600 California Avenue from open space to neo-industrial, District 5.
Thank you. Is an oath required here?
No.
No? Okay, we'll hand it over to staff.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to introduce Allison Ruiz Spindler, or Spindler Ruiz, our Planning Bureau Manager. She will make a presentation on this item.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and members of the Council. I'm pleased to be before you this evening on this matter. So as a little bit of background, on November 3rd of 2022, the Planning Commission held a duly noticed public hearing on the project that is coming before you today and recommended that the City Council take the above listed actions here on the slide. I'll note that previous to that, back in October 2020, a site plan review approval was given to construct a 3,000 square foot single story medical office building. That approval was at the staff level. And as the project has continued to develop, you'll see the need for it to come for commission and then now to City Council for a specific component of the project, which is the general plan amendment that will be before you. You can see here the project is located in the institutional zoning district, and it's surrounding Willow Springs to the north, the Sunnyside Cemetery to the east, office and industrial uses to the west, and retail to the south. The existing general plan designation is for the open space place type, and the proposed general plan amendment is to the neo-industrial place type, which I'll explain in just a minute. So you can see on the slide here, the existing conditions include a parking lot and associated landscaping that was approved through a conditional use permit back in June of 2017 for off-site parking to serve a commercial building across the street at 999 East Willow Street, which is actually in the city of Signal Hill, as shown on the slide. Although the parcel is located within the city of Long Beach, the right-of-way on California is also within the city of Signal Hill, and then thus the jurisdictional boundary. So the proposed larger project is for a building that will be 22 feet 8 inches in height on the northern half of the project site. The project site is a long and narrow rectangular shaped lot. The proposed building would be bordered to the north and south by surface parking, and physical development would be restricted only to the northern portion of the project site, including 12 parking spaces for the proposed medical office. Again, this is for a project at 999 East Willow, adjacent, which would remain, and the design of the proposed building meets all the design requirements of the institutional zoning district. So to get into a little bit more detail about the general plan amendment before you, it's a general plan amendment to the neo-industrial place type that's being proposed, and that's required in order to allow for the proposed development to occur on private property. The neo-industrial place type is intended for light industrial, clean manufacturing, offices, and commercial uses accessory to creative business. The project site has a current general plan land use element place type designation of open space, or OS. The existing OS place type supports recreational space such as parks and does not allow for commercial or industrial uses such as offices. Although the existing institutional zoning district does allow for medical offices, the land use place type does not. Therefore, the proposed general plan amendment has been made. The neo-industrial place type is used in many circumstances, including as a buffer between existing industrial and residential neighborhoods. On this site, the place type would serve as a transition to Willow Springs Park to the north and Sunnyside Cemetery to the east. And properties across California on the west and Willow to the south are located again within the within the city of Signal Hill, but they're currently developed with industrial and commercial uses. While our land use element update is fairly recent, the proposed general plan amendment is still appropriate because it addresses a city mapping error in designating this privately owned and commercially operated parcel as open space. And for the record, the land use element designation, even before that recent update, was for general industry or general industrial. In accordance with the general plan, the institutional zoning district is consistent with the neo-industrial place type, and the site on which the general plan amendment is proposed, again, is private property with the appropriate surrounding uses for such a place type designation. So to summarize, the general plan amendment is really required to clean up or fix the issues seen by staff and to allow for construction on a private piece of property. The proposed general plan neo-industrial place type is appropriate here. Again, creates that transition between light industrial, office uses, and the existing open space place type would not be appropriate for this location as it appears to have been designated in error due to the adjacent open space uses and the city boundary adjacency on the other side. With all of that, staff presents to you the recommendation to find the project exempt under CEQA, and the CEQA analysis was for the entire project, so both the industrial building as well as the general plan amendment, and staff is asking that you find conformance with that and adopt a resolution approving the general plan amendment to change the land use element place type from open space to the neo-industrial place type. With that, I'm happy to answer any further questions you might have.
Thank you, Councilwoman Kerr.
Yes, thank you for that report. And you mentioned it a couple of times, but if you could go through it one more time. It's an interesting piece of land. I drove to and from high school every single day and passed by it, and for a long time it was dirt and weeds. But you said that it's private property. Can you give me a little bit of history? I know you guys went back and looked at the history. Could you just go through that a little bit so there isn't a misconception about the open space versus private property piece?
Absolutely. So I'll give a little bit more, and if the project planner has additional detail, feel free to add. So you're right. This is an interesting piece of property, and let me see if I can bring back up. If you can see on the map here, the cross-hatching are the property that we're talking about, is the property that we're talking about. And you can see to the east is where you would find Sunnyside Cemetery, and to the north is Willow Spring. So it's really this long, very narrow rectangular sliver there. And if you go due west, it's the right-of-way, right? It's the street, and then we're into the city of Signal Hill. So it's this unusual, very small piece of property. And when we do look back, it's consistently been zoned institutional, as it still is today. And even under the previous general plan, before this recent change, we saw that it was under general industry, which is 9G in the old land use element. So it has consistently been under a general plan designation for industrial or institutional use, not open space use. So the history, as far as we've looked back, is of private ownership and of more of an industrial type of or institutional type of use, and not as open space.
Great, thank you.
Councilwoman Zendejas, anything? Councilmember Yaranga.
Thank you, Mayor. And I want to thank Councilmember Kerr for asking that question, because I too had some issues and concerns about what exactly were we talking about. And I did have a meeting today to talk about that particular space, as well as the adjoining space right above that, which is now designated open space, and that it's going to continue. So I'm looking forward to the day we come over and deal with that particular space, because it's near Willow Springs. It's a city asset. We need more open space, and I appreciate that we are going to be continuing to study that one spot there as continuing as open space. So I want to thank you for the clarification. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Hearing 14, please.
Item 14, report from Economic Development. Recommendation to receive supporting documentation into the record, conclude the public hearing, and adopt resolution continuing the 4th Street Parking and Business Improvement Area Assessment Levy for the period of October 1st, 2022 through September 30th, 2023. This does require an oath.
All right, let's proceed with the oath.
You and each of you do solemnly state that the testimony you may give in the cause now and pending before this body shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
All right. So we'll pass it on to staff.
Okay, I'd like to introduce Johnny Vallejo, our Deputy Director for Economic Development, for this presentation.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and members of City Council. The 4th Street Parking and Business Improvement Area, FSPBIA, was established by the City Council in 2007, allowing for the levy of an annual business license assessment to be paid by the businesses located in the business improvement area. The City of Long Beach contracts with the 4th Street Business Improvement Association, FSBIA, to manage the business improvement area, and the FSBIA Board of Directors serves as the advisory board to City Council on matters related to the business improvement area. The FSBIA promotes and markets the business improvement area using funds generated through the FSPBIA Business License Agreement Assessment. State law governing parking and business improvement areas requires that an annual report be submitted to the City Council by the advisory board. On October 22nd, 2022, the FSBIA Board of Directors voted to recommend to the City Council approval of the 2022-2023 FSPBIA Annual Report. This report describes boundaries, proposed activities, and budgetary information, as well as the method and basis for the continuation of the assessment. The annual report proposes no changes to the FSPBIA boundaries or the method of levying the assessment, and no significant changes to proposed activities. The City Council shall hear and consider all protests from members of the 4th Street Parking and Business Improvement Area against the assessment, program, or boundaries of the area as proposed in this annual report. This concludes my staff report.
Thank you. And just want to acknowledge that Vice Mayor Allen's computer isn't really working. She should be queued up for the motion, and Zendejas the second. Is that correct? All right, so we can recognize that. Vice Mayor Allen, you're recognized.
Yes, thank you very much. I support the motion.
Thank you. Councilwoman Zendejas, anything?
Supportive.
Is there any public comment here? Okay. Members, please cast your vote.
Councilwoman Zendejas. Motion carries.
Great, thank you. Item 15, hearing 15, please.
Item 15, report from Financial Management. Recommendation to receive supporting documentation into the record, conclude the public hearing, and grant an entertainment permit with conditions for entertainment without dancing to Green Table Hospitality, DBA Ubuntu Cafe at 335 Nieto Avenue, District 3. This requires an oath. You and each of you do solemnly state that the testimony you may give in the cause now and pending before this body shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Thank you. We'll hand it to staff.
This item will be presented by Tara Mortensen, our Business Services Manager.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of City Council. I also have with me this evening Junie Salcido, our Business Services Officer. Before you tonight is an application for entertainment without dancing for Green Table Hospitality, Inc., doing business as Ubuntu Cafe, which is located at 335 Nieto Avenue in the 3rd Council District. This establishment operates as a restaurant. The business has the following ABC license: a Type 41 on-sale beer and wine eating place. This license authorizes the sale of beer and wine for consumption on the licensed premises. All the appropriate departments, including Health and Human Services, Development Services, Police, and Financial Management, have reviewed the application and have provided their recommended conditions as contained in the hearing packet. The following recommended conditions in Attachment A should be noted from the Additional Conditions section. Entertainment activities can only occur from 5 to 9 p.m. on Thursdays and Fridays. Section number 6. includes, that was from section number 1. Section number 6 includes the permittee shall not convert the restaurant or any portion thereof into a dance nightclub. All entertainment activities shall be conducted in conjunction with regular dining or pre-planned banquet activities. A banquet is defined as a function held at a bona fide eating place wherein complete and substantial meals are provided to the persons in attendance by the management of the restaurant where the function is being held. Fast food, snacks, and hors d'oeuvres shall not constitute a complete and substantial meal. And section number 7, and probably the most important to many here, the speaker volume in the patio area shall be kept at a low level so as not to disturb any other businesses or restaurants. If any noise or disturbance complaints can be attributed to the speaker volume in the patio area, the permittee shall modify or remove existing speakers at the direction of the Chief of Police. And that concludes my staff report. I'm available for any questions.
All right, we'll pass it to Councilmember Duggan. We can do public comment if you prefer. Is there public comment on this item? There's no public comment. Councilmember, it's on you.
Wonderful. Thank you for your explanation on this. And our field office is right next door to Ubuntu. I have to tell you, the owners have been great. They welcome families, children, pets. I'm happy to support this, and let's see. I move to accept the staff's recommendation to receive supporting documents into record, conclude the public hearing, and grant an entertainment permit with conditions for entertainment without dancing to Green Table Hospitality, DBA Ubuntu.
Thank you. Councilwoman Zendejas, is that a second?
Yes, supportive of this item.
Fantastic. I'll just add that I hear a lot about this place. I want to come check it out when it has some entertainment. So when does the entertainment kick off, or has it already begun?
Give us a couple weeks to issue the permit, but it should be shortly. And the entertainment is planned for Thursdays and Fridays from 5 to 9 p.m.
Thursdays and Fridays, 5 to 9. Got
And
it.
it's their intention is to have jazz.
Jazz. My wife. We like jazz. Okay. Okay, this is good. Okay, members, please cast your vote.
Motion is carried.
Congratulations, Ubuntu Cafe. All right, now we'll move to our general public comment. We have 6 speakers signed up to speak. Please come forward when I call your name. We have Rocio Torres, Melissa Christofferson, Mary Simmons, Pam Chatswati, Nada Tushnit, and Michael Woods. Okay, this is going to be a good public comment. So let's start with Rocio.
Was I first?
Yes, you are. You are
Okay,
first,
okay.
then Melissa, then Mary.
Okay. So, hello, my name is Rocio Torres. I'm a board member of AOC 7 Neighborhood Organization and a member of Project Dignity, Long Beach. Can you bring this a little higher? I feel like
There's a button.
The
Can we help
button?
her?
Don't pause my time.
Yeah, there's a button.
Okay.
There it is.
Okay. I have lived and worked in Long Beach all my life, and I just want to clarify my why or my purpose of today's call to action for Project Dignity is not an attack on any individual or any of my city council members or our mayor. It is an attack on the system that is failing people. A system that is failing people experiencing homelessness, families, residents, neighbors, businesses, and city employees. We call for a strategic master plan that will outlive all of your terms if done correctly, with frequent accountability check-ins, because nothing is perfect. I support the following recommendations from Project Dignity. I support a strategic master plan with timelines, checks, and balances. I support accountability overseeing the homelessness-related RFPs and contracts. I support collaboration between the 20-year-old multi-service center with CBOs, facilities, and community groups. I support multi-points of entry, not just at the MSC. And of course, I support mental health and rehab facilities. I also support housing first with trauma-informed workers and case managers with transparency. Let's move forward with a system that will be inclusive and easy to navigate for all individuals. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please, Melissa.
Hello, my name is Melissa Christofferson, and I'm with Beacon for Him nonprofit and also work with Project Dignity. I work with the unhoused community, and I'm here just to speak about a couple of people that I know that have been failed by the system. We had Project Home Key. That was a great, great program, and unfortunately it ended with lack of funding, and I had friends that got pushed out that were actually promised housing. We need those vouchers to work, so people have been getting housing vouchers and having nowhere to move in because for whatever reason their credit score isn't good, or basically they can be denied for any reason. So we need some kind of plan as far as like when people have vouchers that they actually get housing. And there's so many people that are on wait lists for over a year to get Section 8 housing. So I'm just calling for a recanvassing of the whole city to really see where we can house people, because as of now, we do not have enough housing, and every single person deserves housing, whether they're have mental illness or drug abuse or whatever they have going on. That shouldn't matter. No one deserves to sleep in a rainy, cold night. So we need more shelter, and we need more places that take vouchers. So, and also we have hotel vouchers that the city has been giving out, and the hotels that we use are actually very cockroach infested and are not dignified places to stay. So I just call for looking at the places that we're supporting. Right now with $3,000, we give these people at these hotels a month, and they often kick them out early and pocket the money. So we need more oversight on where the funding's going, how it's using, how we're using it, and if that money could be deferred in a better way, because $3,000 could house someone in an apartment, not just in a hotel room. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next is Mary Simmons, then Pam Chatswati, and then Nada Tushnet. Mary.
Hi, good evening, Honorable Mayor Richardson, Honorable Council members. My name is Mary Simmons. I live in the 6th District. I'm with AOC 7 Neighborhood Organization, and I also work with Project Dignity Long Beach, where we have been doing a lot of homeless advocacy. I happen to live across the street from MacArthur Park, the Anaheim corridor, and I'm here for two reasons. One of them is I want to support a sustainable strategic master plan that would extend beyond 100 days. So after 100 days, I like the way we're moving along, Mayor Richardson. I'd like to offer my service to continue to work alongside the City Council. And the other thing is because after 12 years, things start changing, we start evolving, and we want to make sure that there's something that's sustainable here for our unhoused. Unfortunately, I happen to live off the Anaheim corridor where, we see a lot of, right now, like a lot of unhoused with wet blankets or hungry, and it's sad. Like, we're providing a lot of mutual aid, but it's got to change. The other thing I wanted to mention was I was watching your clip from YouTube, and it said 6 to 9 months. I know it takes time. I know this didn't happen overnight, but at the same time, 6 to 9 months, my heart breaks. I can't think of watching my unhoused neighbors out there for 6 to 9 months. I mean, I'm every morning calling my neighbors, asking some of my team members, like, what can we do today to make a difference? So, so thank you very much, and thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Pam, then Nada, then Michael.
Thank you, Mayor, City Manager, City Council, and staff. Thank you so much for your time today. My name is Pam Chatasawati. I'm a 20-year resident, and I live at the very top of District 2, used to be District 4 for the last decade. I'm a co-founder of Peer Education Community Center, a community education-focused organization and part of Project Dignity Collaborative.
For a year, we've been peeling back the layers surrounding homelessness and listening to the voices impacted directly. I'm here today to advocate for a strategic master plan that will extend beyond your administration in the state of emergency. One that will centralize with transparency, accountability, implement program evaluations and audits, develop organized collaboration with the community, create facilities, and train peer advocates to assist caseworkers who need tangible resources. The system and infrastructure needs change. It's valuable for the system to take responsibility for unhoused residents. Homelessness is not a business. It should not be a career with a future. We need a timeline with an end. Community organizations only provide band-aids to navigation or comfort. They should not be created to be sustainable. My own organization wants to focus on community education, not homelessness. Community education is a cog in prevention and a conversation for another day. The impacts of public safety and economic development from a master plan would be the example that the state could look to. Let's be the city that does that. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Next is Nada, then Michael.
Hi, my name is Nada Tushnet, and I live in District 3. We're told we don't have a lot of homeless, but I walk every day through the district, and there are a lot of unhoused people in our district. There's also a fact that 40% by our count, the point in time count of the unhoused people are in fact seniors who, when we attend to mental health and rehabilitation with assisted living, seniors have particular issues because when they return, they don't generally return to jobs when they return to the community out of temporary housing. So during the time they're in temporary housing, plans have to be put forth for their ongoing life and structure. And so therefore, planning the master plan, which has to extend beyond 100 days, has to account for the varying populations, including the senior population within the unhoused community. Thank you.
Thank you. Our final speaker, Michael Woods.
Evening, ladies and gentlemen. I represent Beacon for Him Ministry of Long Beach, as well as Abundant Life Christian Fellowship of Northern Long Beach. Surely the master plan has to work sooner or later. We need more time, we need more help. Mondays, on a daily basis, on the North End Long Beach, I watch homeless, young, old, veterans, people that are just young. I watched a 17-year-old kid the other day shooting dope in back of an alley. I'm homeless, but I'm sheltered thanks to friends who had compassion. All right? The Lord said, when I was hungry, you didn't feed me. When I was thirsty, you didn't give me water. All right? We need to push this issue. We need to work with our community. Not just the businesses saying, hey, they're in our way, kick them out to the side. Or when we have the Long Beach Grand Prix, run them all out, put them in jail till the Long Beach Grand Prix is over. We need to work on administrations, MSC, myself. I put in for housing. I'm temporarily employed as a security officer. But the thing is, what would have happened if I didn't have friends or a church or somebody with compassion to reach out and say, hey, come over here, let's help you. These are people just volunteering. What happened to the money that's supposed to be out there to help people like me or others that's in worse predicaments? I'm born and raised native of Long Beach. I'm 63 years old, and never in my life have I seen it this bad. I used to be able to count the homeless on my hand. Now I gotta use everybody else's hands to count them. Let's push it and get this going a lot quicker with our mental health, our drug and alcohol rehab programs, even housing. Let's not just put them in jails. Let's work with them. Programs. With that, thank you for your time.
Thank you. And that satisfies public comment. I want to thank our 6 speakers. Well organized, well received, and I agree with many of the points that you made. And in the days and the weeks to come, you'll hear more about steps that the city is taking to bring more urgency. And we agree 6 to 9 months for anyone living on the street is a long time. When I referenced 6 to 9 months, what I was saying was to end homelessness, it won't happen in 6 to 9 months. We have to think about root causes and building our local capacity to make sure that we can manage this in the long term. And you'll see at least twice weekly updates from our city team on where we're going. So thank you so much. We'll now move on with the agenda. Next, we have item number 16.
Communication from Councilwoman Sorrow, Councilwoman Zendejas, Vice Mayor Allen. Recommendation to request city manager to investigate the feasibility of developing a Long Beach cultural vision plan and report back to the city council within 90 days.
All right, Councilwoman Sorrow.
Thank you, Mayor Richardson. I'd like to begin with public comments, please. That's how I roll.
All right, so we have 17 members of the public, so that goes down to, 90 seconds? All right, so we have Lina Vuong, Caitlin Vuong, Anthony Guerrero, Justin Yee, Andy Rath, Jessica Gillette, Karen Reside, Van Bowie. I think I'll call those first 8 if they can start lining up. Again, Lina Vuong, Caitlin Vuong, Anthony Guerrero, Justin Yee, Andy Rath. Come on forward. Lina, you're up first.
My respects to Mayor Rex Richardson, Vice Mayor Cindy Allen, Honorable City Council members, and City Manager Tom Monica. My name is Lena Vuong. I'm a student at Poly High School, and I'm a resident of the city of Signal Hill. I urge the Long Beach City Council to support the Long Beach Cultural Vision Plan as it will allow the arts and culture of this community to flourish and bloom. I've learned a lot from the different cultural centers in Long Beach. This plan will promote and enhance the arts and education, and it will build a Long Beach that brings people together from diverse backgrounds through shared understanding. Each community will grow under this plan, making Long Beach a very special place. Thank you, Councilwoman Julie Sorrow, Councilwoman Mary Zendejas, and Vice Mayor Cindy Allen for recommending the Long Beach Cultural Vision Plan to the City Council. Please vote yes on agenda item 16 to make the Long Beach Cultural Vision Plan a reality. Thank you.
Caitlin?
My respects to Mayor Rex Richardson, Vice Mayor Cindy Allen, Honorable City Council member and City Manager Tom Monica. My name is Caitlin Vuong. I am a student at Poly High School. I am a resident of the city of Signal Hill. I am speaking here today in support of the proposal to establish the Long Beach Cultural Vision Plan. Long Beach has so much to offer as a city that I call home. It is where I have many memories in school, volunteering community activities, and family events that involve many different cultures. I am a well-rounded person because of the diversity of my city. I believe that the Long Beach Cultural Vision Plan will become a source of inspiration for the youth in this community. It will provide immense benefits for all communities in the city. The image of Long Beach as an international city that embraces diversity will be solidified in the hearts of this generation and those that follow. Thank you, Councilwoman Julie Sorrow, Councilwoman Mary Zendejas, and Vice Mayor Cindy Allen for recommending the Long Beach Cultural Vision Plan to the City Council. Vote yes on agenda item 16 for the betterment of this community through the Long Beach Cultural Vision Plan. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Next is Anthony Guerrero, then Justin Yee, then Andy Rath.
Okay.
Anthony, you're up.
My respects to Mayor Rex Richardson, Vice Mayor Cindy Allen, Honorable City Council members, and City Manager Tom Modica. My name is Anthony T. Guerrero. I am an educator and I grew up in the city of Long Beach. I am standing in front of you all today in support of item 16, the Long Beach Cultural Vision Plan. I grew up in a household where art and culture was instrumental to my early years. We attended cultural centers, festivals, art and culture and musical exhibits throughout this diverse city. My family values the opportunities to learn about the richness of the human experiences and the stories that are shared. The Long Beach Cultural Vision Plan will provide benefits to the city of Long Beach and its people through cultural heritage enrichments, economic opportunities, and make this international city a place where everyone is valued. The Cultural Vision Plan will create intercultural strength, prosperity, and health for the region. Therefore, I would like to ask all honorable City Council members to vote in favor of Agenda Item 16, the Long Beach Cultural Vision Plan, tonight. Thank you, Councilwoman Solisaro, Councilwoman Mary Zendejas, and Vice Mayor Cindy Allen for recommending the Long Beach Cultural Vision Plan to the City Council. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Justin Yee, then Andy Rath, then Jessica Gillette.
Chipsua, Mayor Rex Richardson, Vice Mayor Cindy Allen, honorable City Council members, and City Manager Tom Modica. My name is Justin Yee. I attend Poly High School. I'm a resident of District 8. Long Beach Cultural Vision Plan, in my opinion, will become a source of pride for this community because it will continue to celebrate our city's unique history and cultural assets as a creative and inventive location. Long Beach's diversity gives people here a lot to be proud of, as we are a melting pot of different stories from around the world. The importance of the Long Beach Cultural Vision Plan is that it allows local communities, cultural centers, and the people to showcase their arts, history, and creativity. The opportunities that are created from this proposal will foster inclusion and empowerment that will show the beauty of humanity when those gifts are nurtured. Thank you, Councilwoman Solisaro, Councilwoman Mary Zendejas, and Vice Mayor Cindy Allen for recommending the Long Beach Cultural Vision Plan to the City Council. Please vote in favor of Agenda Item 16. Thank you for your attention.
Thanks, Justin. Next is Andy, then Jessica, then Karen.
Chipsua, Mayor Rex Richardson, Vice Mayor Cindy Allen, Honorable City Council members, and City Manager Tom Modica. My name is Andy Rath, and I'm a student at the California Academy of Math and Science, and I'm a resident of District 7. I was born in the city of Long Beach, a place where my family and I and our friends put down roots and share so many valuable memories. I love Long Beach, a diverse and unique place to live and grow. The Long Beach Cultural Vision Plan will make all the different communities in the city prosperous and stronger. It will promote the different cultures, arts, and attract tourists from around the world. Investment in the Long Beach Cultural Vision Plan will enable the communities to thrive together in the shared space. Thank you, Councilwoman Solisaro, Councilwoman Mary Zendejas, and Vice Mayor Cindy Allen for recommending the Long Beach Cultural Vision Plan to the City Council. I encourage you to vote yes on Agenda Item 16 for a Long Beach Cultural Vision Plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Jessica, then Karen, then Van Bowie.
Honorable Mayor and Council members, my name is Jessica Gillette, and I'm a resident of District 2. I'm also an attorney, and with me today is Ralph Santos. He is the Long Beach Filipino Festival Executive Director. What drew me and my family to this city is its diversity, much like many people here. The Filipino community has a rich and significant history in Long Beach, and we make up 39% of the city's Asian population. We have the perfect opportunity through the Cultural Vision Plan to develop West Long Beach, which has been designated as a Filipino town with plans for a museum and a cultural heritage center. We are fortunate to have active Filipino community leaders organize events that have drawn large crowds, such as Mr. Santos with the Long Beach Filipino Festival, my brother Romeo Garcia with the Parol Lantern Festival, and Dr. Elaine Bernal and myself with the inaugural City of Long Beach Filipino American History Month. A cultural vision plan will provide opportunities for development that span and enhance important public agendas, not just for the Filipino community, but for other communities that comprise the rich cultural diversity of Long Beach. It will promote community building as cultural events will give this community a sense of pride and in our rich history, as well as dissolve stigmas, social isolation, and other social barriers. It will also revitalize cultural districts to strengthen the connection between local businesses, residents, and visitors. This will foster economic development as culture appeals to travelers and create tourism. Please vote yes on Agenda Item 16.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Karen Reside, then Van, then Myra Garcia Cortez.
Hi, Karen Reside, president of the Long Beach Gray Panthers and a resident of District 1. When I was looking to retire from the Boys and Girls Club, I visited a number of cities. What attracted me to Long Beach was I grew up in Lakewood, and I had attended a number of festivals as a child. There was such a wealth of richness and appreciation for everybody and how much we had in common. And I helped organize the Filipino Festival and the Samoan Festival. And I made many, many friends out of those contacts. And one of my favorite things to do is to walk around the neighborhood around dinner time and smell all the delicious smells of people as they cook their native foods for dinner. And this item is long overdue. These different cultures bring such a wealth to our community. And thank you so much for bringing back the children. It really warms my heart to see the children participating. And I truly love the festivals that the City Council did. I think we need to bring those back too. Thank you, and I support this, and I hope you all will too.
Thank you. Next is Van, then Myra, then Jason Mercado.
Hello, my name is Van Bowie, and I'm representing Long Beach Residents Empowered, or Libre. Honorable Mayor and Council members, I'm in support of item 16 to request the City Manager to investigate the feasibility of developing a Long Beach Cultural Vision Plan. Many different communities call Long Beach their home and have been able to foster a real sense of community here. Folks from the Latine, Khmer, or Cambodian, and the LGBTQ+ community. Community members and the city have been able to honor the cultural diversity that exists here through the museums and institutions and small businesses built here. Being surrounded by and living in such a rich and diverse community here in Long Beach is truly an honor and privilege. It is crucial to develop a cultural vision plan in order to ensure that the city of Long Beach can continue to serve the needs and support the livelihoods of residents and visitors alike. Establishing a policy and planning framework through the cultural vision plan would be in the city's best interest. I hope that this item passes with unanimous support from the City Council. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Myra, then Jason, then Alan Keogh.
Good evening, Mayor Richardson and council members. My name is Myra Fernanda, and I'm an organizer for Long Beach Residents Empowered and a constituent of District 2. I'm here in support of Councilwoman Dr. Suli Saro's item to request the City Manager to investigate the feasibility of developing a Long Beach Cultural Vision Plan. Long Beach is a diverse and dynamic city, and the city prides itself in its cultural diversity. The city is home to the Museum of Latin American Art, Pacific Island Ethnic Art Museum, African American Cultural Center, and current efforts are underway with the Long Beach LGBTQ+ and Cultural District and the Cambodian American Cultural Center. As a first-generation American, both my mother and my father are Mexican immigrants. There is a large cultural difference between the U.S. and Mexico. It was wonderful growing up in the city and being able to take trips to the MOLA and not only learn about where my parents came from, but it allowed me to remain in touch with my roots as long as my parents. Not only does cultural diversity benefit immigrant communities who live in our city, but it also creates ways for folks to connect and understand one another so we can build a more united Long Beach. Please accept Councilwoman Dr. Saro's proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Jason Mercado, then Alan Keogh, then Frederick Soar.
Hi, my name is Jason Mercado. I am a community organizer with Long Beach Residents Empowered. Honorable Mayor and Council members, I am in support of Councilwoman Dr. Suli Saro, Councilwoman Mary Sendejas, and Vice Mayor Cindy Allen's proposal for item 16 to request the City Manager to investigate the feasibility of developing a Long Beach Cultural Vision Plan. Long Beach is a diverse and dynamic city, and the city prides itself in its cultural diversity. I remember as a child how different things were coming from a school in LA that was predominantly Latino and Hispanic, to moving to Long Beach and attending Hudson Elementary in District 7. The cultural exposure I received was uncanny as I developed lifelong relationships with people of different ethnic backgrounds, which gave me the opportunity to participate and learn about their rich culture and history. As I got older, I realized that not everyone was as fortunate as I was to have these experiences. I would like the city to further promote this diversity, as Long Beach is home to the MOLA, the Pacific Island Ethnic Art Museum, the Homeland Cultural Center, the Long Beach Japanese Cultural Center, the Latino Cultural Center, the African American Cultural Center, and the current efforts are underway, as my colleague mentioned, with the Long Beach LGBTQ+ Cultural District and the Cambodian American Culture Center. The cultural institutions and districts serve as hubs to promote and preserve the arts, history, historic markers, and other enhancements to honor efforts in community leaders and activists to support local businesses and attract more tourism. A cultural vision plan will ensure that we have a policy and planning framework that will effectively serve residents and visitors
Sir,
alike.
your time's concluded.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. We're in the zone. All right. Next is Alan, then Frederick, then Sharon Diggs-Jackson.
Good evening, council members. My name is Alan Keogh, and I'm here with the UCC nonprofit organization, providing public comments in favor of Councilwoman Dr. Sulisaro's item 16. It's obvious that Long Beach is known for its racial and cultural diversity, as we've heard. And in fact, that is one of the reasons why I moved here. I am originally from Connecticut. I moved here about a year and a half ago. And I will say that the diversity here in Long Beach is way more than the state of Connecticut itself. Living here in Cambodia town specifically has helped me learn more about myself. It's been invigorating, going out to the public and communities, helping support local businesses. UCC has taught me a lot about my culture and community, but Long Beach has taught me a lot about myself. Clearly, Long Beach prides itself in its cultural diversity. I see that and I feel it as well. However, I see a lack of cultural awareness from a handful of locals I've met. I work at a restaurant. I've been told people they don't know that we have a Cambodia town here, and it just surprises me that there's just a little bit of a lack of awareness. So I believe we need to promote more cultural institutions that have a stronger outreach to the residents of Long Beach. A cultural vision plan will strengthen just Long Beach itself, the people in it, the people who come to visit. I think it'll be a great unification for everyone here in the city that is truly loved. Coming from an outside state, people here in Long Beach love Long Beach, but I think having more of a cultural plan will just embrace more of the diversity here, and it'd be a good support if you were to vote yes. So thank you.
Thank you. Next is Frederick, then Sharon, then Griselda Suarez.
Hello, my name is Frederick Soar. Hello, Honorable Rex Richardson. Sorry, it's my first time being at this podium.
Take your time.
Hello, Honorable Rex Richardson and Honorable Council members. Thank you all for bringing this up. I think it's very important. Here in Long Beach, we are very diverse, as everyone has said. You can even look at the room, and that should probably be the sign that this is true. I am born here in Long Beach. I was raised here in Long Beach. I'm Cambodian American, second generation. My parents are both first generation Cambodian Americans. They were refugees from the Khmer Rouge. And what I've learned growing up with them is that communication is pretty difficult when you don't understand the same language, the same culture, the same food, art, fashion. So being able to have a vision plan like this is being able to create institutions, being intentional about creating those spaces where our families are able to communicate in terms of culture. As a business navigator with the United Cambodian Community, I learned that business owners are people too. They're trying to be the best sons, the best daughters, the best moms, the best dads they can. And there's a real insecurity, a real fear, a real anxiety when it comes to their culture that sometimes gets in the way of their work. So being able to be intentional with the city, putting the best foot forward to create these spaces, I think we'll be able to alleviate some of these fears and anxieties and insecurities of her.
Good job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next is Sharon, then Griselda, then Tasha Hunter.
Good evening,
Mayor, City Council. I stand here proud to support the plan for a cultural vision plan. Growing up in Long Beach at this diverse community, I actually count that as one of the biggest blessings of my life. Having gone and lived in other places, I realized that not everyone got the experience that I did. I've been involved also in the development of the African American Cultural Center. We sent a letter of support on behalf of this item as well. But I think it is important that we develop some linkage between the cultural centers, so having a vision plan, I think, will serve the city and serve all of the residents to the best. At the African American Cultural Center, what we try to do, and a guiding principle for us, is to educate, honor, and inspire. And that's what we have brought, and I would like to see sort of that carry throughout our other cultural centers as well. I'm here to offer my support in any kind of way if they're looking for community involvement. I think the mayor's office got a call from me the morning after the speech because I was excited that we were moving forward with the development of the cultural vision. So we're here to support it, and I urge all of the council members to vote yes on behalf of this plan. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next is Griselda, then Tasha, then Greg Johnson.
Buenas noches. Good to see everyone. I'm excited to make my first public comment to this new council and new mayor. My name is Griselda Suarez. I'm Executive Director of the Arts Council for Long Beach, and I'm here to support the visibility for a cultural vision plan. I also want to make some comments about what we have witnessed tonight. We witnessed a lot of young people coming up and stepping up, some for the first time, to talk about how important culture and arts is to their lives. And so with the feasibility study, I urge that the city manager, Tom Modica, and the council looks to how the intersection of quality of life and economic development measures how people express themselves in the city. The freedom of speech is very important, and every group comes together to do that in their own unique way. In addition to that, it is important to see how our maintenance of our public assets, our cultural assets, are also part of the feasibility study. And lastly, that our economic blueprint, I am also a commissioner for the Economic Development Commission, is involved in the feasibility study because there is a lot of interest for our local businesses and institutions to continue the growth as we move forward from this pandemic. Thank you so much, everyone who has supported this item, and Dr. Sulisar, thank you so much for championing.
Thank you. Next is Tasha Hunter, then Greg Johnson, then our final speaker is Elsa Tung.
All righty. So greetings and good evening, Mayor Rex Richardson, City Council, City staff, and attendees. First, let me start by saying congratulations to each and every one of you in this historic place in our city government. My name is Tasha Hunter, and I've been a cultural worker for over 3 decades, but today I'm here as an associate consultant and thought leader with Lord Cultural Resources. Lord Cultural Resources is a global practice leader in cultural sector planning, and since '81, we've helped create, plan, and operate cultural spaces and places in more than 460 cities, 57 countries, and 6 continents. We had the opportunity to work on the first cultural center plan here in Long Beach for the African American Cultural Center, which was championed by our Councilman Al Austin. And that's where the beautiful story began. Lord has also worked on the operational plan for the Latino Cultural Center, and we're currently working on the Cambodian Cultural Center, the preliminary business plan and feasibility study. We wanted to thank you for bringing this item, Dr. Sulisaro, to council today. And as a very beautiful and diverse city that Long Beach is, this work is not only important, it's necessary and vital as it serves as that blueprint within the fabric of how art and culture is, for seconds, who we into our city. So I just want to thank you for bringing this forward, and I ask that you support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Greg, then Elsa.
Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor Rex Richardson and everyone here serving as our honored City Council. I am Greg Johnson. I am the Board President of the Arts Council for Long Beach, and I am here in agreement of the Cultural Vision Plan, and I'm here to also support our esteemed Executive Director, Griselda Suarez, and just reminding the body that when we go forward with the Vision Plan, we do need the participation of the economic development body here, because there are not only when we begin to talk about cultural vision in our diverse city, we're not only speaking about the cultural centers, but even just as a quick example, because I only have a few seconds. A quick example is, we need mural restoration. In the pandemic, many murals have been damaged out here, and so it's going to be a pretty penny, a lot of work by our entire city to repair those and preserve the beautification of our city, to keep on lifting up arts in the schools. So you just include the entire body and bring forth a comprehensive vision plan, and that'll be all good. I'm in support. It's just yes, but God bless you. Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings. Our last speaker, Elsa Tung.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor Richardson and City Council, both returning and new members. My name is Elsa Tung with Long Beach Forward. I'll keep this short and sweet. I just really strongly support this item and strongly urge your vote yes. And thank you so much to Councilwomen Saro, Zendejas, and Allen for your incredible leadership. Thank you.
All right, well, that satisfies public comment. We'll take it back behind the rail. Councilwoman Saro, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor Richardson, and thank you so much to each and every one of the speakers for sharing your thoughts and speaking your voice on this cultural plan. Deeply appreciate you taking the time. I also want to thank Councilwoman Zendeja and Vice Mayor Allen for co-sponsoring this item with me. As we've heard and we know by living in the city or working in the city, it's very diverse, and I know we're all very proud of it. But at the same time, what is there is that we have so much cultural and also creative capital that we're just not quite tapping into, because we have all these emerging projects. But at the same time, how are they connected? How are they demonstrated as part of our city fabric in a way where it's also promoting innovation, economic development as well? And, we've done a lot of planning and discussion so far with some of the cultural centers and even the LGBTQ district as well that's mentioned here. But there are many other communities and cultures that also would like an opportunity to be heard and seen. And I want to make sure that we are inclusive as possible for making sure we recognize that in every part of our city, from the Native American community, who we need to honor first and foremost, and how do we recognize them, our Filipino community, as mentioned, that Jessica shared comments about from the Pacific Islander, and I can continue on, even the Wrigley, neighborhood, who's a very historic neighborhood that has a culture there too that needs to be uplifted. So I want to make sure that we don't obviously end it at culture alone, but really look at how we're uplifting it to build community and stimulate economic development, which is why I want to also highlight that it's actually in the draft of the Blueprint 2.0 for economic development by the Economic Development Commission that was just passed by City Council in November. So I'm just really making sure we lift this up to connect not just economic development, but our arts and our diverse community so it's also, I guess, in some way to tie those two in, which is important as we start to go into these implementation process with our cultural center. So some of the other objective that the blueprint also states, I just want to read those two objectives because it really is making sure to begin in the process of following through with that blueprint. And the first objective is to develop and implement robust cultural plan that reflects unique culture, history, and lived experiences. And the second objective in the blueprint is to increase the availability of cohesive, creative, and accessible space for people to live, work, learn, create, and interact, play, and experience diverse culture. So, San Diego has a plan. Chicago has a plan and San Diego is developing it. And I think that we have a lot we can learn from them, as well as making sure we follow through on the recommendation from our blueprint as well. So I look forward in getting a report back in 90 days on this item. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Cindy Allen.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Councilwoman Sorrow, for bringing this item forward and for allowing myself and Councilwoman Zendejas to co-sponsor it. We are such a diverse city, and that's what makes Long Beach great. I have seen so many community letters that I have here, and all of these folks that lined up to speak, I think you all would agree this is a pretty awesome city. The cultural institutions preserve the arts, the traditions, and the history of our various communities. And having a long-term plan will ensure our diverse populations are recognized, are honored, and are uplifted. I know that community members and small businesses along Broadway, which is my district, are excited about the LGBTQ cultural district and the opportunities and the representation that will bring. Also, I'll reiterate what Councilman Sorrow said about this is in line with the city's economic blueprint, which is important, so I'm not going to read that because the Councilwoman already has. This item also opens up opportunities for economic development hubs surrounding cultural centers and districts. So on that topic, Councilwoman Sorrow, I would like to offer a friendly amendment to have this feasibility study return to the Economic Development and Finance Committee to review prior to returning it back to council, if you're so agreeable.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Committees may change. Councilwoman Zendejas.
Thank you, Mayor. We are rich in diversity here in the city of Long Beach. Each culture has a unique history that must be shared and preserved. There are so many cultural traditions that shouldn't be forgotten, but passed on generation after generation. I'm so excited to know that there's a Latino Cultural Center on its way and also a Cambodian Cultural Center. And I think that this is so fitting that we bring this vision plan forward at this very time, because I think that it is very important that from here on, and like one of our public commenters said, this plan is definitely way overdue. And so I think that the timing is perfect so that we can bring it all together in a plan so that we don't miss out on making sure that we uplift all of the important different cultures that we have in our city. So with that, I want to say thank you to Council Member Dr. Sulisaro. Thank you, Vice Mayor Allen, for inviting me to join you on this very important item, and I am happy to support this vision plan.
Thank you. Councilwoman Kerr.
Thank you. I won't repeat what has already been said, but I want to thank my fellow councilwomen for bringing this forward, and Dr. Sorrow for your leadership on this. We've all talked about our unique experience for those of us who grew up in Long Beach and in Long Beach schools of learning culture through our friends and going to dinner at their homes and seeing the art on their walls. And I think it's really critical that we have a comprehensive plan that allows for formal spaces for us to learn even more about the history beyond the things that were so subjective and that we hold so dear to us, the sights and the smells and the experiences that we had. So bringing these together, it feels almost what I thought of like these are instruments in a symphony, all of these different cultures. And so by having a common thread and bringing them together, there's a real opportunity to uplift everyone and really rise, have everyone rise up. So thank you for bringing this forward to formalize the process. I look forward to what staff bring back.
Thank you. Councilwoman Sorrow.
Yes, just a few more comments that I wanted to add is that I hope this plan also ensures that we are honoring the communities that have been here and have obviously are first and foremost a Native American who were here before us, and then those community who have helped build Long Beach over time, but that it also be a way in where we can protect our communities to retain the culture as our city shifts and changes. I want to make sure that people are empowered in the neighborhoods they live in to be able to create kind of an identity and also economic empowerment to remain there. So the other thing I'll say is that I also believe that it aligns really well with the mayor's 100-day plan around having a structural permanent place for cultural centers and cultural affairs in our city. So if you haven't seen the state of the city on his plan, I recommend you do so.
Thank you. Councilman Supernaw.
Thank you. First, I'd like to thank the council members for bringing this item forward. I stand in support. Also, Councilwoman Sorrow, thank you for mentioning the Native American community, which is so important. And I really appreciate the timing of this proposal because it aligns perfectly with our establishment of a Native American Commission, which is pending right now. I think it will bring tremendous synergies for both these ideas to come forth at the same time. Anyway, thank you again, and let's take advantage of this very unique opportunity.
All right, thank you. I'll just add some thoughts here. First of all, thank you, Councilwoman Sorrow, and and the additional signers for bringing this forward. In our conversations leading up to this, I think it's right in alignment with where we are. The last few years, there's been a lot of visioning, a lot of engagement, cultural centers. Folks have a real need to be recognized and feel recognized in the city, as well as festivals, communities, El Mercados. And then when you think about just the history of Long Beach, and a lot of it's been mentioned, but I think there's alignment with our educational institutions. Kwanzaa was created right here in Long Beach. The Black Studies Department at Cal State Long Beach, the Chicano Studies Department at Cal State Long Beach have been trendsetters across the CSU system. And so I think there's a lot that can happen here. I also know that as we talk about our economy moving forward, there's been a lot of framing. I know our Arts Council, Economic Development Commission has done a lot of framing around arts and culture as economic development. If we are going to grow our city, we need more people to come here and spend nights here and buy tickets to performances here and buy things here. And I think if we think about our diversity and our culture and our history as an asset, then people will do that. When I visit cities, a lot of times I'll look to see if there's a mural arts tour or something that will take me into a different neighborhood or a cultural district. I'm talking about when I go to places like Minnesota has them, right? Alabama, Birmingham, they'll have these tours and cultural districts that you can go and visit. And I think Long Beach is ripe for that. So I think we're at a real interesting point to bring it all together and see what's possible. So I look forward to working with staff and working with you to bring this vision forward. Members, please cast your vote.
Motion is carried.
Thank you. Good job. All right, we'll now go to item 29.
Report from City Attorney. Recommendation to declare ordinance amending the Long Beach Municipal Code to temporarily suspend certain provisions of Titles 18, 21, and 22 during the proclaimed local emergency caused by homelessness, declaring the urgency thereof, and read and adopted as read citywide.
Thank you. I think this is important. I don't know that we need a presentation on this, but this is in alignment with the work that we've done in declaring a state of emergency in order to protect the public safety and health of individuals within our community, both our unhoused neighbors and the general public. And it requires to suspend certain provisions of the municipal code with respect to building standards and those processes so that we can move faster and address that dual crisis of homelessness and the rising cost of housing. So I'm gonna first just go to public comment. I see there are 5 people signed up to speak. So Myra Garcia, Van Bowie, Stephen Smith, Elsa Tung, and Dave Shukla. Are you here? Come on forward. Like the Price is Right. Come on down. So Myra, Van, Stephen. Is Stephen here? Okay, Elsa, is Elsa still here? Okay, and Dave Shukla, is Dave here? Okay, great, come on down. You're recognized, Myra.
Yeah. How much time do we have to speak?
You get 3 minutes.
Perfect. Good evening, everyone, again. Again, my name is Myra Fernanda, and I am a resident of District 2 and an organizer for Long Beach Residents Empowered. The unhoused population has increased by 62% since 2020, and we're afraid that this number will only increase without needed resources. As you look towards solutions, we ask you to also consider how to stop the unjust displacement of our neighbors and preserve affordable housing. Keeping people in their homes is a critical piece in preventing more people from falling into homelessness. For the past 2 years, I have been on the ground working with renters, and it is heartbreaking to see how many residents were evicted because they didn't know their rights or didn't have someone to support them through the legal hoops of an eviction process. It's time that we start acknowledging that evictions are contributing to the homelessness crisis in our city. Renters are still trying to recover financially due to the ongoing COVID pandemic. Families are being evicted with no money in their pockets and nowhere to go. I have seen it happen, even in these past 2 weeks, accompanying renters to their eviction appearances in court, facing a judge with tears in their eyes because they don't see a future that includes having a roof over their head. No one should have to face an eviction process alone, and that's why we ask the city to fully fund the Long Beach Right to Counsel program to provide legal representation resources to all renters regardless of their immigration status to better support tenants facing eviction and prevent homelessness. Rents are expected to increase in the coming years, and true affordability is moving further from reach from working families. We ask that council members look at bringing back the rental assistance programs, explore how to stabilize rents, as well as preserving HUD Section 8 buildings for very low-income renters. Thank you, Mayor Richardson, Councilwoman Sendejas, for your leadership in this matter, and we hope to see council members join in support for our neighbors experiencing houselessness. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next is Van.
Hello again. My name is Van again, and I'm representing Libre. I will be giving public comment in support of item 29. The system that addresses our homelessness crisis as we know it now is not enough to support our unhoused neighbors and community members. We need to establish a stronger infrastructure that not only assists those experiencing homelessness to access the resources that they need, but also prevents people from becoming houseless and losing their housing to begin with. I support the following recommendations from Project Dignity: a sustainable strategic master plan that extends beyond the 100-day plan, accountability and oversight of homeless-related RFPs and contracts, collaboration between the multi-service center with CBOs, facilities, and the community, multiple points of entry not just through the MSC, mental health and rehabilitation facilities plus assisted living, housing first with trauma-informed workers, and case management plan with transparency. I hope that the council will be able to join Project Dignity in exploring more creative ways to more deeply address the current homelessness crisis. Thank you for your time and attention today.
Thank you. I don't see Steven, so Elsa, you're up.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council. Once again, Elsa Tung with Long Beach Forward and District 5. Certainly appreciate the Mayor and City Council's incredible work to declare a state of emergency, but as we know, this is only the beginning of a systemic problem. I definitely want to stand in support and solidarity with Project Dignity, which gave many great recommendations and public comments during general public comment period. And also want to support my colleagues from Libre who just spoke, tying together the issue of homelessness and homelessness prevention. And homelessness prevention is eviction protections and tenant protections. And I have to say, Mr. Mayor, I am disappointed that your 100-day plan does not include or does not mention even tenant protections and evictions, and does not tie that thread together between evictions and homelessness. So this is an incredible start. Really appreciate your leadership here on the council and mayor today, but we have to dig deeper. and I look forward to working with you on that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Dave Shukla.
Good evening. Dave Shukla, 3rd District. Before I begin, let me just say, Councilman Uranga, it's a real pleasure to see you back in your seat. I nearly lost a brother to a traumatic brain injury. It's really inspiring to see you back with us. Okay. Good evening. Hope you all are keeping well and keeping warm. I'd like to speak narrowly on just one aspect of the ordinance in item number 29, and that's how unpermitted accessory dwelling units will be made legal. Sections 18.100.020 C, lines 21 through 26 on page 5. Section 21.69.020 G, lines 18 through 23 on page 8. And section 22.35.020 G, lines 9 through 14 on page 11. All of these sections relate specifically to suspensions of Titles 18, 21, and 22, respectively, for the legalization of unpermitted accessory dwelling units, ADUs. And specifically, these sections, they're all similar in language and in content. They emphasize that any conflicting provisions of local laws, that's local laws, can be abrogated for the legalization of currently unpermitted ADUs or unlicensed ADUs. Now, particularly those that are already occupied by tenants. Let's be very clear on the point of this ordinance. The point of the ordinance is to keep people housed. We've heard extensively from other public comments this evening on what that means with respect to tenant protections. I would love to see, Mr. Mayor, you support rent control, myself. Now, the basic premise, though, of this ordinance, keeping people housed, shouldn't be a license for unscrupulous and predatory rentiers and landlords to keep unsafe, unsanitary, or blatantly uninhabitable properties on the market, certainly not without getting a warrant of habitability or certificate of habitability. It shouldn't be used to grandfather in properties that need work and need work such that, as we heard extensively over the past 2 years with the substantial remodel provisions, are a premise to turn over property and raise the rent. This upward pressure on rents, on housing, not only displaces people, not only keeps vulnerable populations, particularly young people, students, from doing what they should be doing. They have to spend most of their time wage earning to pay rent, but it doesn't help our city in any major way, save for a handful of these unscrupulous landlords. I'd like to emphasize that state laws on habitability must apply with this ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that satisfies public comment. Members, please cast your vote.
We'll wait. Don't rush. Motion is carried.
All right. Item 28, please.
Report from City Attorney, recommendation to declare ordinance amending the Long Beach Municipal Code by amending sections relating to parklets, read for the first time and laid over the next regular meeting of the City Council for final reading citywide.
Mr. Modica.
Yes, so in December, we were asked by the council to take a look at the process for parklets and with some very specific requests to look at a new ordinance. We have spent that time working with the city attorney and with Public Works, and we're back in front of you tonight with what we believe was the council's direction. We do have a presentation we'd like to give to, I know we've talked about parklets many, many times in this chambers, but to remind us all where did we come from, where are we now, where are we going, what the new rules are going to be, when does the temporary parklet program end, and then be able to explain a little bit about the intent of the ordinance. So I will turn it over to our Public Works team who will walk us through the presentation.
Thank you, Tom. Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, I'm going to start by first talking a little bit about the temporary Parklet program and where it started, and then I'm going to transition into the permanent program that we've had for the past few years. With me today, I have our acting city traffic engineer, our private development program manager in Public Works, and one of our permit technicians that helps us process all of these applications. We also have Vanessa from the City Attorney's Office here to answer questions and provide support. So back in May of 2020, we were asked to help put together a temporary Parklet program to provide relief to businesses that were trying to maneuver through the COVID-19 pandemic. At the height of the program, we had 112 temporary Parklets locations citywide with over 120 participating businesses, and we also had 176 outdoor activity permits and 10 sidewalk dining permits. We're at this point today. We're at a we're at a different place. We currently have 21 temporary Parklet locations citywide, and 27 outdoor activity permits remaining. We have extended this temporary Parklet program a couple times, and with the last extension was until January 31st, 2023. So at the end of this month, the temporary program will be ending. Of the Parklets and OAPs under the temporary program remaining, we have 21 Parklets and sidewalk dining locations citywide, and 27 OAPs remaining citywide as well. The permanent Parklets have been available prior to the creation of the temporary Parklet program. Back in 2018, we enacted the permanent Parklet program by ordinance. But prior to that, we also had Parklets that were considered, reviewed, and approved, and it all led to the culmination of formalizing a program. The permanent Parklet program does have a lot more stringent construction and administrative requirements than temporary Parklets. Most of the temporary, actually all of the temporary Parklets that were installed, did not meet the requirements in the permanent program, but we are now working with business owners to transition to the permanent Parklet program for those that are interested. While we did not charge fees for temporary Parklets, the permanent Parklet program does require some fees. We do recover the cost to staff to review and approve all of the applications. For applications that are within the local coastal zone, we work closely with our Development Services Department staff to ensure that they go through their review and approval process as well. All temporary Parklet permittees were informed of their option to apply for a permanent Parklet permit. We were actually proactive in our conversations with business owners, and we did a preliminary review with any potential applicant that was interested in converting to a permanent Parklet. Of the 112 temporary Parklets in operation at the peak of the program, we have 21 that are pursuing conversion to the permanent program. In preparation for the conversion to the permanent program, the permanent Parklet application process was internally reviewed, and we did find some inconsistencies that we're here to work on cleaning up today. One of the areas where we found some inconsistencies related to the public outreach, as currently written, our code requires written consents from applicable community organizations and building associations, providing evidence of the organization's approval or lack of objection. It did not define those applicable community organizations, so we did have to interpret that and work with our Development Services Department to use their neighborhood groups directory that they maintained. This created some challenges. Each neighborhood group in the list that we were using is asked to define their own geographic boundaries. This resulted in having numerous groups often claiming oversight and jurisdiction over the same parklet. Just creates some inconsistencies there. Per current code, an applicant in an area with one or more groups claiming oversight, they must produce a support letter, or failure to obtain one must be construed as lack of support from the neighborhood groups. As such, those parklet applications would be denied under the way the municipal code is currently defined. So we are here to propose some changes. We are looking to revise the municipal code to remove the requirement that letters of support be obtained from community groups and business associations, and introduce an alternative community input process. Permanent parklet applicants who meet all requirements other than the community support letters will now be responsible for posting a notice for at least 30 days within the proposed parklet area, advising the community of the parklet's pending application and soliciting their input. So to ensure consistency among all applicants, Public Works staff will facilitate and coordinate the posting of the signs, which will include contact information for the department's processing staff as well as the applicant. Applicants will reimburse the city for any expenses associated with the required noticing. We're also proposing to clarify that one or more single letters of opposition communicated to us will preclude the permanent parklet application from being approved and a permit issued at the staff level. In these cases, an application has met all other requirements will be presented to the City Council for its approval and directive to staff to issue the permanent parklet permit, or deny the application. Application decisions made by the City Council would be final and not appealable. Application decisions and permanent parklet permits issued by staff would be appealable to the City Council, and those are the instances where we go through the process and there might not be an opposition letter, but then either an applicant or a third party can file an appeal directly to the City Council over that decision. Currently, our code states that permits for providing a parklet may only be issued if the vehicular speed limit of the adjoining street is no more than 25 miles per hour. We're looking to clarify this section rather than it being rigid. We are asking for some flexibility to allow our city engineer and our city traffic engineer to consider parklets in sections where they may be 25, where the street speed may be 25 miles per hour, but can safely host a permanent parklet with the right conditions. So I'm not going to read those bullet points, but we are asking for authority for our city traffic engineer to be able to review the applications in those instances, make recommendations to ensure safety, and have the capacity to approve those circumstances where a permanent parklet may be deemed safe in an area that's over 25 miles per hour. The appeals. We wanted to make it very clear that residents are able to file their opposition during the noticing period. If there is opposition to a permanent parklet application, it will automatically trigger a review by the City Council. That is not an appeal, as a permit has not yet been issued, and no appeal fees will be charged to any resident that may want to submit a letter of opposition. Now, if Public Works staff makes a decision to approve or deny an application, and either the applicant or any third party wishes to challenge that decision, an appeal to the City Council will require a fee, and I have the fees that are currently in place listed here. That is only if there is an application submitted that we approve or deny, and a third party may or the applicant itself wants to appeal that decision. But with the new process that we're establishing for residents that want to submit letters of opposition, that will automatically trigger that to come to the city council directly, and thus there is no need for a formal approval appeal, because that would come directly to the council for review and deliberation. City council determinations will be final and not appealable because of the way we're setting up the process. And I have the appeal fees that we currently charge listed in this chart. I wanted to talk a little bit about our permanent parklet program. I know we've been focusing a lot on temporary parklets, but the permanent parklet program has been around formally since 2018, but we have reviewed and approved applications for parklets well before 2018. We just recently renewed a permit application that was originally approved in 2009, just as an example. So we're not the only jurisdiction that reviews and approves parklets. Cities throughout the state of California also have similar programs in place. I do want to point out that because permanent parklet have more stringent requirements, that there is design and construction standards that are a lot higher than those that we saw with temporary parklets. They also look a lot nicer. When permanent parklets are located within our local coastal zone, there are additional requirements that applicants will need to go through. So where are we with the current status of our permanent parklet applications? We have 7 businesses with temporary parklets that have secured a permanent parklet permit already through the application process. And we currently have 26 businesses with submitted applications for a permanent parklet that are under review. They are all in different phases of the review process, and we broke it down there by district so you can have an idea of what's currently on our docket. There will be reasons when permanent parklets will not be allowed. We did list 3 of the primary reasons on this chart. I'm not going to read those over, but there are reasons why we do deny or we do not allow permanent parklets in certain situations. So that concludes staff's presentation. We are here to answer any questions you may have.
Fantastic. Thank you. We're going to go to public comment. We have 6 members of the public signed up to speak. Brian Cochran, Estella Tejidor, Jeff Miller, Kurt Schneider, Melinda Cotton, and Julie Dean. Brian, Estella, and Jeff, you're up.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and council members. You begin 2023 with my earnest and deepest appreciation for the goals you've set for yourself and the needs you will address for your city and its communities. Our new mayor and council members in particular have stated ambitions of inclusiveness and transparency that can be a game changer for how the city conducts its affairs. Kudos to all of you. On the issue of parklets, please make transparency and community engagement the central tenets of policy going forward. Please. This item comes before you as a legacy item handed off by a council member no longer in office and at the urging of businesses wanting to make public land for private profits. Councilwoman Price proffered these changes after 4 years of an existing ordinance that she never once questioned, and only at the last possible moment when long-established neighborhood organizations, the best engaged voices on behalf of their communities, were poised to provide meaningful feedback, as they'd been promised for 2 years during the temporary program. I wonder if you can appreciate the onus and the burden that this is for community residents on a whole relative to the businesses. By example, the 3rd District Council member's office used to have a business liaison. They were tasked with connecting with those businesses to get their permits up to speed, to address insurance issues. They were doing that one-to-one. Public Works was doing that one-to-one. We've seen the PRAs with the emails, the phone calls, the back and forth. How much things were done on behalf of the businesses to get them further along. Residents, on the other hand, can go months without follow-up to their queries. Their email responses from the Public Works Department are minimal and non-transparent at best, and they take forever. So please, don't make your first major decisions as new council members, ones that close doors, ones that mute voices. Don't embrace this decision casually without undertaking meaningful study and input. Please put the brakes on the proposed changes right now and open the discussion to better ways of managing growth to the benefit of all. Our city's new Ethics Commission has made clear that you are free to engage with residents and neighborhood orgs to hear their points of view. Help bring those ideas to council for vigorous, open debate. I ask that you start this term not with old business as usual, but with openness and robust engagement built around data points and full communication. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you. Next is Estella, then Jeff, then Kurt.
Good evening. At the December 6th council meeting, the former 3rd District council member requested that the language of the municipal code be changed as it related to community groups voicing disapproval of the parklet installations in their own neighborhoods. After repeatedly being told that the city could not give a right and then take away a right from a business, this is what this proposed change is doing, but to the residents. This is a right that was originally written in the municipal code 5 years ago. This last-minute proposed change takes away the voice of community groups to create a dispositive. In the installation of a permanent parklet. And it goes even further in the disenfranchising members of the community with costly appeals that makes it prohibitive to oppose multiple parklets. There's a fee for every parklet that we would want to oppose in the appeal. I hope that city council members don't want to begin their term deliberately by moving citizens even further from the process on an issue that is vital to local neighborhoods. Please do not approve this proposed amendment.
Thank you. Next is Jeff, then Kurt, then Melinda.
Good evening, Mayor and council members, and congratulations to the 3 new members on the council. I'm Jeff Miller. I live in the 3rd District. I sent a letter to each of you yesterday. I hope you've had a chance to read that letter and consider what I was asking, which is that you delay action on this item. This is based on transparency. I echo the comments Brian made that transparency has not always been as evident as one would like here. We're expecting this cohort to improve on that. Several of you, in fact, have made statements already expecting more transparency and advocating that. This is an issue where more transparency is required. There is no need to rush to approve this item. There are several concerns about the process and the approval of parklets that need more consideration. This is a significant issue, a long-term change. Granting the exclusive use of public property to a private business for profit and removing the use of that space by the public. This is a privilege that is not granted to a private citizen. We don't get to use public space for our own exclusive use. This requires more outreach. There's been little public awareness of this issue and what it means for the future. Councilwoman Duggan, 2/3 of the current applicants for parklets are in your district, and most of those in a 10-block stretch of 2nd Street, a district that is very parking impacted already. Removal of parking spaces will have a huge impact on not only the people who live there, but all the visitors who come there and want to spend time on 2nd Street. So to all of you, your constituents elected you to represent them and to give consideration, which means you need to extend outreach to them. Make them more aware. Give them a chance to talk to you and explain their concerns and discuss what this means, not just rush ahead. Please delay action on this. Don't rush into these changes. Thank you.
All right. Next is Kurt Snyder, then Melinda, then Julie.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council people. Thank you so much for hearing this topic. I'm speaking tonight as the president of the Belmont Shore Business Association and as a property owner in the district and someone who greatly enjoys the parklets in the Belmont Shore retail corridor. I fully recommend nearly all the proposal, hang on a second, that helps any California enjoy the amazing weather that we have. Parklets are fantastic at getting people outside. Also, parklets improve the vibrancy of all retail districts. Seeing people socializing is a magnet for prosperity. I would like to remind the council of the last time I spoke of the pugs and the absurdity of any community group being judge and jury. For approval of any parklet, it's just crazy. I could put together a group of 10 of my friends that like pugs, and we're now a community group, and we may not like parklets, so we say no to the parklet. Thank you very much for the language that you've added. I applaud the city staff on the new language because it was absurd before to give so much power to any one group, no matter who they represent. As the person before me and the person after me, they have so few people in their group that are not representative of Belmont Shore. They are not. They have very few people show to the meetings, and what do they have, 30 members? I put a change.org out for Parklet. I had 1,315 people sign in approval of wanting that Parklet. I had 1,000 in 7 days. 1,000. They talk about 500 for dogs. That was 4 or 5 months worth. 7 days. So we all have our differences on that. Again, I applaud the city. But I have one issue with the language, just one. Item G, page 3, only a 1-year permit. The short-term lease reminds me of the 3 little pigs. One made a home of straw, one made a home of sticks, and one of them made it of bricks. The surviving brother built it of bricks. I hope all of you want the parklets to be built well, like the surviving pig built his. I recommend any level of default to have a remedy that is gracious. Please understand that the $70,000 to $100,000 is a very substantial investment that can be taken from a business owner, no different than the big bad wolf ate the 2 pigs. Please provide a detailed remedy for the defaults or longer term. This will incentivize tenants and landlords to build beautiful structures and, most importantly, be a good neighbor. Again, thank you, and I hope you come out and enjoy our parklets.
Next is Melinda Cotton, then Julie Dean.
Good evening, Mayor Richardson. Welcome, Councilwoman Duggan. Good to have you and the other 2 council members. My name is Melinda Cotton. I live in Belmont Shore. I've been there for 40 years. In 2012, the Belmont Shore Parking Commission held 2 robust meetings about one parklet that George wanted to put one parklet on 2nd Street. It would have taken 2 parking spaces. During those meetings that were quite long, the members debated and opposed taking 2 parking spaces for a parklet. Mr. Schneider was part of that and is recorded on the 2012 meeting in opposition. So what we're faced with now are currently 11 parklets proposed, and that would be probably 22 spaces lost, and many more people will apply as well. So again, I ask that you defer acting tonight and that further studies be done and come back again. And I was shared this afternoon with a letter that was sent to Councilwoman Duggan by a resident who lives near 2nd Street. I don't know if she's received it as yet, but it shows what the people think in the Shore. The letter, it says as follows: Ms. Duggan, congratulations on your win. I am a supporter. I'm hoping the issue of the parklets in Belmont Shore is at the top of your radar. While they were a good idea to help our restaurants recover from the lockdowns, their time has come and gone. None, and she capitalizes that, none should be allowed to become permanent. Every single restaurant owner signed a lease describing the exact number of square feet they were leasing. It did not include our sidewalks and parking lanes. If they cannot move forward and make a profit based on their original business plan, they have certainly not earned the right to take over more community space. This issue needs significantly more neighborhood input and much less red tape. The parklet at the corner of 2nd and Laverne has been the site of 2 very nearly horrible accidents for me alone, and she italicizes that. How many others have been endangered? Please confirm to us that putting you in office was a good choice. And I would like to emphasize the part where she says that significant more neighborhood input is needed. For the years after 2012, there was no person who applied for a parklet because they knew the business community, the retail businesses, the office holders, the residents opposed it. And we would hope that that thought is held. And thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Our final speaker, Julie Dean.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor Richardson and Vice Mayor Allen and all of our council members. My name is Julie Dean, and I live in the 3rd District. The Belmont Shore temporary parklets, as I said before, are not following California ADA nor Long Beach Muni Code specifications, and they haven't been all along. The Muni Code states that the sidewalks must leave a 5-foot walking space that is a direct line, not a snaking line. However, the California ADA has even stricter requirements of 3 feet. Despite Public Works saying there are no issues, there are. Enforcement has not happened in the last 2.5 years of the temporary parklets. Why would we believe it's going to start happening with permanent parklets if there's no requirement built into the code, which should be done right now with the other changes that are occurring? And in fact, most of the restaurants and bars treat the sidewalk between their businesses and their parklets as if it belongs to them. I have been almost crashed into numerous times by servers with heavy hot plates because they simply come barreling out of the doorway towards the parklet without looking left or right. I've had to act defensively. The sidewalks do not belong to the businesses, but they're acting like it, in addition to taking over the parking spaces. If these restaurants and bars and gym want more outdoor dining / space, they should have leased a piece of land with more outdoor dining or space. Instead, they're just being greedy and using the free land of our city. Additionally, somehow Kurt Schneider was able to convince the city to turn Olympic Plaza into a one-way street 2.5 years ago for his Iconics gym. That change took away 20 parking spots that allowed the public to freely visit the beach, which is a top goal of the Coastal Commission. It also takes away parking for neighboring businesses. Aside from the numerous photos of the empty outdoor fenced-in gym that I have, the flimsy temporary do not enter sign disappeared months ago. Again, who's monitoring these things? It doesn't look like anyone is. We need better oversight and enforcement. Lastly, Belmont Brewing already got free outdoor space years ago, and now they want to add a permanent parklet too. However, this does not abide by Coastal Commission guidelines and should not be approved. Additionally, they're horrible neighbors. They allow their parklet patrons to blast music from their tables. They conduct chair repair in the plaza. Their employees do not consider their neighbors when dragging their trash to their dumpsters at all hours of day and night. And they have early morning delivery starting as early as 4 a.m. I believe these behaviors should be considered when looking at parklet approvals and should be built into the code. Regarding posting notice, it must be deep, as currently Belmont Shore residents have no idea that permanent parklets are being considered. I'm also wondering, Mr. Lopez said that there are 8 approved applications, and I'm wondering, has there been notification to the public of those areas? And finally, Iconics has been a horrible neighbor to Belmont Shore Children's Center, especially by playing loud, rated-R music outside directly next to the children's outdoor playground. Thank you.
Thank you. That satisfies public comment. We'll now take it back behind the rail. Vice Mayor Allen.
Yes, I thank you, Dawn, and the city attorney's office for your update on this item. I do understand that when the original ordinance was written, there was a certain intent for community groups in the Parklet process, but we have seen that some of the requirements proved burdensome and to businesses who were seeking the permanent Parklet permit. So I do appreciate this update on this ordinance. I know that we have a lot of Parklets in the 2nd District, and I definitely hope that this makes the process easier for our businesses. I know that several of the businesses in my district were advocating for this change to be made in the ordinance. And I just want to also say that just remember that residents still have a voice in the Parklet process. Okay, so I don't want for anyone to think that that's not the case, and I think this is a very fair process. Can someone just clarify in this new ordinance that Parklets have to be ADA compliant?
Hello. Yes, ADA compliance is a part of our handbook process. It's been a part of the requirement since the beginning of the program. And so any application that comes in for a Parklet needs to fully comply with ADA guidelines.
All right, thank you very much for that clarification. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Councilmember Duggan.
I'd like to thank staff for taking the past council's direction and proposing what I believe is a thoughtful and balanced approach for this ordinance. Although I have inherited this council item, I am motivated to move into a more permanent Parklet program, as it will be removing the temporary structures that aren't always aesthetically pleasing and move to new Parklets that will look better. We've seen the benefits of Parklets through the pandemic, not only for businesses, but I think it offers something for our communities, patronizing our businesses. It makes our community more vibrant. These Parklets create spaces where residents and visitors can take advantage of the great weather in Long Beach and build our businesses. Go walk in and buy things from our businesses. I think that's important. It's time to create a more permanent and predictable ordinance, though, and I think that's what this ordinance change does. It strikes a balance between expanding the use of our Parklets by businesses and mitigating the impacts that we have on communities, that it has on community members. There are some aspects I want to point out. This change allows for public input. I think it actually makes it more accessible for the public to know what's going on, with it being posted on site for 30 days, with one letter of opposition received. It will come to council. People are going to be able to come and actually speak with their own voice and voice their concerns or their support. The revised ordinance removes the ability for one community organization or neighborhood association to deny a permit outright, despite if it's been supported by the community. From my understanding, this was never the intention when the original draft of this ordinance was made. And I don't think it's good practice to give veto power to one group. Again, the ability for residents supporting or opposing coming to council, I think, is very important. The new proposal also provides the city's traffic engineer more discretion to approve Parklets. I think this is an important point with the corridors over 25 miles per hour with safety improvements. Remember, today's vote is not approving a specific Parklet. All approved Parklets after January 31st will have to be publicly noticed
the public hearing if opposition is received. And this is providing the transparency. It's providing the change that people want, that transparency. It's going to allow our city and our residents to provide their input. I do have a few questions for staff. So the following issues, Vice Mayor Allen brought up the ADA accessibility, and that was addressed. Crosswalk safety due to line of sight, right-hand turn safety due to line of sight. I think those have been brought up. And I also want to address deliveries which have become a problem sometimes with parklets.
I'm happy to respond to that, and I forgot to introduce myself earlier. Paul Van Dyke, acting city traffic engineer. So there were two questions. One was about visibility at intersections, whether it's for right turns or crosswalks. The intent of this program is to allow businesses to occupy locations that are currently occupied by parked vehicles. And so anytime we're considering visibility at an intersection, whether it's an SUV or a parklet, that's always the first thing that I'm looking at personally is, can people see folks in the crosswalk? Can they see the cross street? And so every parklet is evaluated with that in mind, visibility and public safety. So they're called parklets, I think, partly because they occupy parking spaces. And so if it was appropriate for a vehicle to be placed there, it's appropriate for a parklet to be there in terms of visibility. So we're not occupying any red curb or any other visibility improvement areas with these parklets. They're always set back in a manner to allow people to see cross-traffic or pedestrian.
And I would add, the requirement is for signed and stamped plans from a engineer that essentially ensures that they provide the dimensions of the parklet that meet our requirements as well. And then the second question was regarding the deliveries blocking potential parking lanes, and I've heard bus stops. That is not allowed. We are aware of some complaints. We do have some inspectors that work with our police department to ensure that we do enforcement on a targeted basis. So I can commit to us taking a closer look and making sure that we have good behaviors out there, and that our delivery trucks are using the designated areas within the different corridors within our city.
Good. Councilmember.
Thank you so much. Do I have time or no?
You got to push the button again.
Oh.
We'll come right back to you. Councilwoman Zendejas.
I'll be brief. Thank you. Thank you very much, city staff, for your hard work on this. I know it's been a really big opportunity for us to help out our businesses during the pandemic. I do know that permanent parklets were established pre-pandemic. Two of the ones that have been my favorite and that I really loved in my district have been Hamburger Mary's and Berlin. And those are two great examples of permanent parklets. And I think that this is where this ordinance is going, is to establish parklets like that are really qualified to be parklets, and that will actually be more inviting and more safe for the community to enjoy. At least that's what I see from this ordinance. I also see that in this ordinance we will continue to have community engagement, and that the community engagement will most definitely be considered, and also giving us the ability, when I say us, I mean my council colleagues and I, the ability to either approve or deny a parklet. And I think that that is really powerful in the way that our constituents have the ability to come to us and really advocate to support or deny Parklet. So thank you for all your work on that. I know that this also is a little bit confusing to some of our community members, and so if you could just clear it up a little bit more. I know that our parklets are coming to, our temporary parklets are coming to an end on January 31st. With many extensions before then. We've provided a lot of extensions, and I really do thank city staff for allowing us to provide those extensions, but I do agree that it is time that we move towards permanent parklets, and for the safety of everyone. And if you could just elaborate a little bit more on how we've been able to give information to those that have temporary parklets of our deadline coming up.
So I'll start, and then my team will chime in here. We've developed quite a bit of relationships with the businesses throughout this process. We actually have a work group in our mobility bureau that has a comprehensive email list and contact information, and we've been working really closely with the different businesses, and we've done so because we wanted to know how many were interested in converting to a permanent parklet. And we also had offered a proactive conversation and evaluation to help business owners before they invest a whole lot of money, help them determine whether they would meet the requirements of the permanent parklet. So as you can imagine, as we went through that process, we developed relationships, and they know who we are, we know who they are, and we continue to work with them. The actual end of the program has been widely covered also in the press, and I think people understand that the temporary is coming to an end, but that we're focused on the permanent parklet, and with today's changes, if approved, it'll really help us continue the program, continue to successfully run the program.
Thank you, Director Lopez.
Thank you. Councilmember Duggan.
I think the final thing that I want to say is that when temporary parklets went up, it had to be done quickly, and we didn't have the same time and effort into the ordinance. So I think that I, again, appreciate the work that went into this. I think there was a lot that was done to make sure details were covered. And again, I believe this is our opportunity to provide transparency, to allow residents to come and speak if they support or do not oppose this, or if they oppose this. So thank you very much.
Thank you. That satisfies council member debate. I feel like the parklets issue is the gift that just keeps on giving every time it comes in front of the city council. But what I will say is I agree with much of what I've heard from the council tonight in terms of the desire to have some finality, have an ordinance, be able to create some due process, so that both sides kind of understand what the rules of road is, and that it doesn't continue to change, so that folks can go through the process as outlined in our ordinance, and we come to a final decision. So members, please cast your vote.
Councilwoman Allen? Motion is carried.
Item 20, please.
Report from Fire, recommendation to receive and file an update on the Public Provider Ground Emergency Medical Transportation Intergovernmental Transfer Program citywide.
Thank you. Mr. Modica, is there a presentation on this?
Not a presentation, but if you'd like, we can give a brief oral staff report.
Is it necessary?
I think the item that's in front of you is pretty self-explanatory. This is about getting some additional reimbursement for our indigent population. It also does come with some costs that we need to now in a new program pay into, and then we're getting net revenue back from this program, and it's something we're going to be monitoring closely.
Councilwoman Sorrow, anything?
No, I support the item.
Councilwoman Zendejas?
Supporting.
Any public comment? No. GEMT is an important funding source, and we support it and continue to engage.
Yes.
Members, please cast your vote.
Motion is carried.
Thank you. 17, please.
Report from Economic Development, recommendation to approve the downtown Long Beach Parking and Business Improvement Area Annual Report, continuing the annual business license assessment for the period of October 1st, 2022 through September 30th, 2023, and authorize the city manager to extend the agreement with the Downtown Long Beach Alliance for 1-year term, Districts 1 and 2.
And this is our annual continuation, correct? So let's have a brief staff report.
Okay, brief staff report from Mr. Vallejo.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. Downtown Long Beach Parking and Business Improvement Area was established by the City Council in 1973, allowing for the levy of an annual business license assessment to be paid by businesses located in the business improvement area. The city contracts with the Downtown Long Beach Alliance to manage the business improvement area. DLBA has 3 established sources of revenue that pass through the City of Long Beach to the organization. This recommended action relates to the business license assessment funds that are used to promote and market downtown Long Beach on behalf of businesses located in the business improvement area. DLBA Board of Directors serves as the advisory board of the City Council on matters related to the business improvement area. The city's agreement with the DLBA requires that an annual report be submitted to the City Council. On August 17, 2022, DLBA Board of Directors voted to recommend to the City Council approval of the 2022-2023 annual report. The annual report describes boundaries, proposed activities, and budgetary information, as well as the method and basis for the continuation of the assessment. The annual report proposes no changes to the boundaries or the method of levying the assessment, and no significant change to the proposed activities. The DLBA PBIA Advisory Board, though, is requesting a 3.8% CPI increase for FY 2022-23. This concludes my staff report.
Thank you. Councilwoman Zendejas.
Thank you. I'd love to go to public comment first if we can, if we have.
We don't have any public comment. There's no public comment signed up.
Thank you. In that case, I just want to say thank you to city staff. DLBA has been a great and important partner in the efforts to keeping our downtown vibrant, safe, and clean. They provide a variety of support to our local businesses, which I'm very grateful for. However, even with the amazing support of the PBID and DLBA funding sources, our local businesses are still struggling. We have had a couple of closures and moving, locations and sites. But I'm very thankful to all of the amount of work that has gone in from DLBA and the partnership that we have with the city. I think that is very significant in the fact that we together can accomplish and really tackle some of our issues in downtown. And I think that we've started to do that already with the emergency that was declared. And I hope that to see really great results. But it also takes great partnerships, not only from the DLBA and the City of Long Beach, but also our residents and our community members. So I really look forward to extending this, and I'm very thankful for the opportunity to work with DLBA. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Allen.
Yes, thank you, Bo, and everyone at the Economic Development, Austin, and everyone at the DLBA team. I'm glad to see that we are continuing the arrangement to maintain the downtown parking and the business improvement area, and that the DLBA will continue to manage the area. I just love the DLBA. I love all their red coats. And so I look forward to working with the new CEO, Austin, and I appreciate what Councilwoman Zendejas says, that you guys are such an important partner to businesses that are really in need of help, you know, in the DLBA area. So we look forward to working with you really closely on that in the years ahead. So congratulations.
Thank you. And there's no public comment. Members, please cast your vote.
Councilmember Uranga. Motion is carried.
Thank you. Next, we'll take 18.
Report from Economic Development, recommendation to adopt specifications and award a contract to California State University Long Beach Research Foundation to research and evaluate the Long Beach Guaranteed Income Pilot Program in a total amount not to exceed $450,000 citywide.
Thank you. Is there public comment on this item? Councilwoman Kerr.
Yeah, in strong support. We know that having data around programs like this helps to validate. We know that there's long-running UBI programs. Mississippi Mothers Project has been going for years and gives us really great data. So I'm excited to partner with our own local research agency to do the work. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Zendejas.
This is a very exciting program that is going to uplift many, many families in the 90813. I'm very, very excited to partner with Cal State University Long Beach, my alma mater, to be able to do this work and really, really figure out if this work is going to be significant in uplifting those families and providing them a way out of poverty, which is one of the things that this program is intended to do. So I look forward to working with this research team and really finding out the results. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Sorrow.
Yes, I just want to add to thank staff for your work on this. I know, Lucius, you were working on it from inception as far as with Nick Schultz as well. And I have a quick question. You know, I know it's zip code based on 90813, and just do we have a sense on just where it's at the moment as far as recruitment? When does it close, the deadline? And the last question is, will data be shared only at the end when there's a final report written, or will there be incremental information shared out of it?
Councilmember Sorrow and members of City Council. So the application actually closed at today at 5 p.m.
Okay.
And so we'll be evaluating all those applications and coming back with reports on that.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Rick Sodi.
I was just going to say, I think it's fantastic that staff is partnering with Cal State Long Beach Research Foundation in order to do this. I really look forward to hearing the report. I'm sure it will be thorough, and I just think this is a fantastic collaboration for the city, and will get us, will allow the city to contribute our portion to the data around this programming that's, you know, really getting a foothold here in the country. So I'm looking forward to seeing the report.
Thank you. That satisfies council comment. Members, please cast your vote.
Motion is carried.
Thank you. 19, please.
Report from Energy Resources, recommendation to authorize city manager to execute all documents necessary to amend SURF operations and maintenance agreement with Covanta beginning February 1st, 2023, until the end of the existing contract term of June 30th, 2024, citywide.
Thank you. I understand some of this is a result of some recent legislation, so we'll ask for a brief staff report, just an update on what this is.
Yes, Bob Dowell, our Director of Energy Resources, can give the brief report.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, council members. I'm joined this evening with Jane Hermson, our SURF Bureau Manager. The item before you this evening seeks approval to amend the current SURF Operations Maintenance Agreement with Covanta Long Beach Renewable Energy Corporation, or Covanta. The amendment adjusts the commercial structure such that Covanta will take responsibility for all SURF revenues and expenses for a contract period beginning February 1st, 2023 until the end of the existing contract term of June 30th, 2024. Since 2018, the SURF Fund Group has been operating at an annual loss of approximately $4 million with the annual shortfall amount offset by funds available accumulated from prior year's operations. With the August 22 passage of AB 1857, staff estimates an additional revenue loss of $2 million per month beginning January 2023. This loss will further increase the revenue shortfall and quickly deplete the funds available, necessitating the closure of the facility as early as the end of February 2023. Due to ongoing agreements for special waste and refuse pricing flexibility, Covanta is better positioned to profitably continue SURF's operations until the end of the current contract term. Along with maintaining SURF's current operations, it is anticipated that the requested amendment will shift the city's financial risks to Covanta and insulate the city from further financial liabilities. The amendment ensures there will be no change to the rate structure charged to the city for bringing its municipal solid waste to SURF, and also ensures compliance with the city's municipal solid waste management program, as well as its climate action plan. With the requested amendment, staff projects that the SURF Fund Group will have approximately $6 million remaining funds available on the June 30th, 2024 contract term date, which would be available for the commencement of SURF's decommissioning operations should they become necessary. This concludes my report, and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. We'll go to public comment. We have 6 speakers: Kimberly Amaya, Whitney Amaya, Dave Shukla, Elsa Tung, Andrea Srenaby, forgive me if I didn't say that correctly, and Celeste Mendez. Please come forward. Kimberly and Whitney.
Hello, good evening. My name is Kimberly, and I live in West Long Beach, near the SURF incinerator, and I'm a member of Eastern Communities for Environmental Justice, and today I'm here to say that we need your commitment to decommission the incinerator as soon as possible and create an RFP that doesn't extend SURF's life in order to protect our communities from further harm. Community members have voiced their concerns repeatedly on the health impacts SURF has caused, and we have expressed our needs for a future where we're not relying on burning trash. Each time, our concerns were kind of cast aside, and instead of possible solutions, we just kept on hearing on how great the incinerator was. The lack of commitment to look into alternative solutions from the city of Long Beach has exposed our communities to unnecessary health risks. Community members have even pointed out the money that the city was losing by keeping SURF running. I think it's kind of funny and sad that now this conversation on SURF's future is happening because of the money and not because of the harm that's been going on for decades. So today I want to urge you to make SURF's closure and the city's transition to zero waste a top priority, to decommission the incinerator and create an RFP that does not extend SURF's life. We don't want to explore anaerobic digestion or any other waste to energy polluting schemes. I want the city of Long Beach to look into managing organic waste via composting and just really listen to what the community has to say. You all have the power to set Long Beach on a zero waste path and become a city that will lead others into a new green era. And I have faith that this new council and mayor will achieve this. Congratulations on your positions, and thank you.
Thank you. Next is Whitney, then Dave.
Yeah, good evening, Honorable Mayor Rex Richardson and City Council members, those of you who are new and returning. Good evening. Again, my name is Whitney Amaya. I'm a resident and grew up in West Long Beach, which is part of District 7. And I'm also an organizer and member with Eastern Communities for Environmental Justice. I've actually commented several times before on behalf of Eastern and myself to urge City Council to stand up against the status quo and misconceptions of trash burning in order to protect the health of not only my community, but also other communities that are surrounding the SURF incinerator, and today is no different. We understand the city wanting to protect itself from financial risks. However, it would be a great injustice to our communities if we left today's meeting without any firm commitments to decommission the incinerator as soon as possible, and if we left without an RFP that looks at a future without SURF and that looks at the possibilities of that site becoming a zero waste space with composting, recycling, and a reuse center. Despite repeated calls from the community throughout decades, the city of Long Beach failed to plan for a future where we're not relying on trash burning, and that failure has exposed our communities to unnecessary risks. Now the city is faced with the reality that if it weren't for subsidies, SURF would have never existed. Because the city didn't take the time to prepare a zero waste plan, it may mean that in the interim, we will have to send more waste to landfill. However, once we implement a zero waste plan, we will see a decline not only in the amount of waste that's generated in our city, but also the amount of waste that's sent to landfill, all while creating more local jobs. We need the conversation regarding SURF's future to stop being framed purely from a financial standpoint. Incineration is one of the most polluting, costly, and inefficient ways to manage waste and create energy. And for almost 35 years, SURF has contributed to the dirty air that my community is forced to breathe. Burning trash emits many pollutants and produces toxic ash that threaten our health and safety, cuts years off our lives, and impacts our ability to bear healthy babies. And the thing is that we're not asking you to plan this transition on your own, because that is a lot to ask, but really our communities are here to help make that transition happen and to plan for that. We've been working hard to reimagine what our city could look like and what our city could be, or to be a safer home that we all deserve. We have amazing groups in our city like the Long Beach Alliance for Clean Energy to help us create a transition to 100% clean and renewable energy. We have a powerful resident-led collective called Long Beach Community Compost, who in 2022 processed 28 tons of food scraps into compost. And we have great small businesses like Bring Your Own Long Beach who provide non-toxic refills to help us move away not only from harmful products, but also from plastic pollution. And overall, I just wanted to say, we have the capacity and potential for zero waste here, so let's work together to make that happen. So please commit to decommissioning the incinerator and creating an RFP that will allow for that to happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Dave Shukla, then El Satan.
Good evening, Mayor Richardson and council members. My name is Dave Shukla. I live in CD3, and I'm here on behalf of the Long Beach Alliance for Clean Energy. I'm here tonight in opposition to this item and opposition to the continued attempts by the city to extend the life of the SURF facility. Members of the City Council, we need a clear and firm commitment from you to decommission the SURF incinerator as soon as possible. This city, particularly city staff in the Gas and Oil Department, looking at you, Bob, have failed to plan for a future where Long Beach is not dependent upon trash burning. That failure, council members, has led and continues to put some of our most polluted and socially vulnerable communities at risk and breathing far dirtier air. The issue of SURF is not, as the staff report might suggest, a solely financial issue. It's also an environmental justice issue. It's also an environmental issue, basically. It's a public health issue, it's a social justice issue, and it's also a logical issue. As we were just learning, that SURF doesn't make money, and frankly, it's always been a mistake. No one on the city staff, for instance, is proposing to keep the SURF facility by, say, moving it to El Dorado Park or next to the 605. As a result of this city failing to implement significant portions of SB 1383 by continuing to try to hold on to the SURF facility, we don't have green bins or any systematic diversion of organic waste from city-owned property. The entire city of Long Beach, that is all residential, commercial, and institutional accounts with LB utilities, have suffered from these repeated and intentional delays to implement state goals or to develop a zero-waste plan. Meanwhile, gas rates just keep going up. Council members, as the elected representatives of all the people in each of your districts, I urge you to commit to decommissioning the SURF facility. Commit to a plan that does not rely on waste to fuel or waste to energy schemes, which really are just another species of permits to pollute, and permits to pollute on only certain people. Most of all, council members, commit to managing organic waste through composting and soil regeneration to the benefit of all your constituents. The city of Long Beach could create hundreds of good union public sector jobs by processing and handling waste within our own city boundaries. And finally, Tom, if your city staff is unable or unwilling to deal with the reality of this facility needing to close, my offer and my terms still stand. I won't work for money. I won't work for this town again. And I won't serve on any commission. But I will get it done. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Elsa Tung, then Andrea, then Celeste.
Good evening again, Honorable Mayor and council members. Elsa Tung, District 5 from Long Beach Forward, and a member of the Just Environment Long Beach Collaborative. I stand tonight in solidarity with the community members who are urging you to make a top priority SURF's closure and the city's transition to zero waste. Council members, we urge you to commit to decommissioning the incinerator. Create an RFP that does not extend SURF's life, which means instead of exploring anaerobic digestion or any other waste to energy polluting scheme, please look into and execute managing organic waste via compost, which will benefit our communities by making nutrient-rich compost available to restore the health of our soils and the health of our people. You all, as the City Council here, have the power to set us on a true zero waste path that will lead to less generation of waste and allow our city to process and handle waste within our city boundaries while bringing more local jobs. We urge you to take that power seriously. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Andrea and Celeste.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor Richardson and council members. I want to say first off, I'm grateful for the overwhelming support from you all for the cultural vision plan, and I urge you to honor our diverse communities by also protecting and investing in their health and well-being. My name is Andrea Savenaby, and I live in Long Beach's 90813 zip code with Councilmember Mary Zendejas. And our district is near the surf incinerator. It's near enough. I'm here today to say that protecting our city from further financial risk is not enough. We need your commitment to decommission the incinerator as soon as possible. And we need an RFP that doesn't look to extend SURF's life as an anaerobic digester or any other facility that will contribute to harming our communities. Instead, I'm urging you to protect our communities from further harm and committing to a zero waste plan. I've worked alongside ACR Communities for Environmental Justice and Long Beach Community Compost to come up with a plan, and we would love to work with you all to get a commitment on a zero waste plan for our city. I've lived in my neighborhood for 14 years now. I've lived in Long Beach my whole adult life. And I've recently developed health issues from environmental factors that have affected my quality of life as well as physical and mental abilities. I've also noticed many of my neighbors that have complained of suffering from asthma. Like most people in Long Beach, especially as you get closer to the incinerator, we don't have air conditioning, and we rely on having our windows open to keep cool during the summer and any sort of circulation during any other seasons. Unfortunately, this comes at a cost to our health, as is evident with the thick, heavy soot that lines our windowsills. The dirty ash from the toxic trash being burned at the incinerator finds its way into our homes, a place where we should be safe from being harmed, but instead we are under constant attack from the dangers of this filth. The worst part is the neighborhoods affected most by the incinerator are also overburdened by the pollution from the port, the freeways, and the refineries. These neighborhoods are systemically harmed with pollution with no regard to the effects on their health. We see this with data showing lower life expectancies and higher rates of many chronic health concerns. This is a tale of two cities, and I don't understand how in 2023 anyone in good conscience could support a project that we know has health effects on people's lives. It is absolutely unethical to back any projects you have information about causing harm to the residents of our city and surrounding cities. It's time to invest in our communities rather than cause further harm. And you can make that change starting today. Again, I'm urging you all to close down the surf incinerator as soon as possible and not invest in some other plan for waste to energy, but instead to commit to a zero waste plan with community input. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Celeste, you're next.
Hi, honorable city leaders. Let's keep the funk alive. That's what I like to say. I'm talking about working together to collect all that funk from residents' food scraps and revitalizing our soils and growing nutrient-dense foods so that ultimately we're healthier human beings in the city of Long Beach, and we can work and we can work out and enjoy the beautiful city. My name is Celeste Mendez. I'm on the board with Long Beach Community Compost, and it's a volunteer-run community composting collective, accepting residents' food scraps and putting it back into local soil. As you all know, or if you'd like to come visit, you can see that food scraps are valuable resources that help revitalize the health of Long Beach soil. We truly believe healthy soil equals healthy people, equals healthy cities, equals economically, socially, and mentally stable human beings. With a lot of heart and a great pair of boots this past year, our small and mighty crew have been able to convert, as Whitney and Maya mentioned, 55,000 pounds of food scraps to soil and keep it in Long Beach. And we did this with only 5 hours per week, and it was all volunteer hours. So it was a lot of effort, and it was just a great prototype beta testing program to see that this can be done on a wide-scale implementation. We currently operate at Willow Springs with permission from Larry of Long Beach Sustainability to help restore the soil there, while also allowing residents to recycle their food scraps there twice a week. So I just want you all to imagine and what we can do with city support to decentralize community composting throughout all of Long Beach and aim toward a zero-waste city with wide-scale implementation. So let's keep the funk alive and revise an RFP with creative solutions to a zero-waste city in mind. I invite any of you, if you're interested, to come visit on one of our drop-offs. I'd love to see all of you there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and thank everyone for your comments. So we'll take it behind the rail. I'll start. I just want to say thank you, Bob, for the presentation. I know the loss of diversion credits from other municipalities, along with the corresponding loss of revenue, induces significant financial risk to the city. Amending the agreement with SERV will protect the city from financial liability and allowing the operator to keep the facility running while we undergo the RFP process for the future of the SURF and the site. I just also want to say that moving to zero waste is the ultimate goal, and we want to reduce emissions and local and global harms every step of the way. Okay? I also support transitioning to zero emission refuse trucks. And our staff has heard from me repeatedly about this. This site can be useful in many ways, and I definitely look forward to the RFP process. So thank you very much. And I'm going to turn it over to Councilwoman Sorrow.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Allen. I support the item in that I do agree with Councilwoman Vice Mayor Allen that we have talked about wanting to make sure we get to zero emission, and I think it's just been a matter of time. I think that we need to make sure it's a responsible and smooth transition, because it also takes some time to educate the public and the community about the transitions and what changes will happen, right, in relations to it. So with that, I support the item and also look forward to seeing the RFP process unroll.
Okay, thank you very much. Councilwoman Zadejas.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. And I really want to say thank you to all those that came up to speak. I hear you. I understand you. One of the things that I want to also say is that I had not had the chance to visit SURF until recently, and I want to thank both Bob and Jane for your hospitality, but more than that, for educating me on what happens at SURF and how it works. And I was very impressed with the operations at SURF, and was, really, really impressed, especially by the fact that the content that is emitted is 99.9% aligned with the ambient air content, which is great. So I was wondering if you could explore a little bit more on that and tell us how a SURF is able to achieve that.
Certainly. SURF is equipped with continuous monitoring air equipment, and it's always upgraded its best available technology to treat any emissions. And you are correct, it's 99.99% ambient air. So 0.001, so 1,000th of a percent, are either NOx or other related elements that are monitored continuously at the facility. So they're basically trace detectable, meaning you have to have very sophisticated and very sensitive equipment to detect those levels of emissions. But that is part of the entire process. We continuously monitor. We are audited annually by the South Coast Air Quality Management District, and we've had several health studies, assessments done of this facility during its operation over these 34 years.
Thank you. Again, I was very impressed by the operations of SURF, and I agree with Vice Mayor Allen with the things that, the credits that we're not receiving right now and how they're affecting our financial status there. I think that that's very important that we approve this to help us through this time. So I just want to say thank you for all the hard work that you do, and I know that your commitment is definitely there, and that you are very much wanting to get there, as well as all of us here, to get to zero emissions. And I think that being 99.99 is great, and I look forward to learning more about it and see how we can collaborate with the community. I also invite the community to come and see you. I know that my host staff, when we went over there, we really were able to walk away very impressed by all the things that, and all the, not only the refuge that is disposed there, but how it is done, and how eloquently it is done. And I know that there are so many more emissions that arise around there, but your facility, you have been doing a great job at trying to minimize the emissions that come out of there, and that is commendable. And we will continue to work. We still have a lot of work to do, but we will continue to work. So thank you for that.
Councilmember Ricks Odie.
Yeah, I just have a couple of questions. Could staff just tell me what's the current capacity of SURF? So historically, when we think about the amount of waste that comes into the facility, like in tonnage, how much is that annually?
So in FY22, we processed 385,000 tons of municipal solid waste. So roughly its maximum capacity is about 1,385 tons a day. So annually, you can get to those numbers. I think it's up to 500,000 tons that could potentially be processed there.
Okay, and so thinking if we were to, so let's say we decided to decommission the facility, what are the alternatives for dealing with that amount of waste in the city of Long Beach?
So right now, they would probably be taken to transfer stations at other nearby cities or agencies, and those would be then further transported to landfills at a much greater distance than those driven to SURF.
Gotcha. So and obviously that amount of movement of our waste then also transfers into additional pollutants into our environment as well.
Yeah, twofold. One, the municipal waste would then go into the landfills. So there's a lot of carbon or CO2 equivalents associated with landfilling of that because it becomes methane. Secondly, the truck drives. It's over 500,000 additional miles of truck driving. So the CO2 emissions from the trucks would also count towards that. So it's a pretty significant increase in the city's overall carbon equivalent adds.
Okay, so it sounds like currently, as we're progressing towards, and I think my council colleagues talked about this, is our progression towards zero waste. Currently, we don't have any type of better alternative to potentially have a surf facility present in the plans for the city, or maybe you can talk a little bit about some of the regional plans that are in place or maybe not in place.
Certainly, but the regional plans right now are really primarily focused on compliance with 1383. So trying to get the organics diversion away is a huge focus, and that's going to take place over time. I believe we have Deco here tonight, but he could tell you there's a city program that's going to pilot how compliance with 1383 would look like for the city beginning this year. But that's really where the focus on this is. As far as zero waste goes, we've always said in our study session, it's a very good aspirational goal, but it's going to take significant input or changes from the industry in the way they manufacture products and put commodities out there for people to consume, because not everything can be reused or repurposed or recycled, and that's where surf is a piece of that solution. And the incineration and not sending that to the landfill is the primary objective of surf at this time. But we still continue to reinforce that hierarchy of waste management, and we think it's very doable, but we still have to do some significant changes both as a society and as an industry, and just the way we purchase and our products are packaged and delivered to consumers.
Understood. And then last question is, understanding that the diversion fees now have caused the facility to run in a deficit. And so part of this, our proposal tonight is going to be transferring this current contract over to Covanta. Can you talk a little bit about Covanta, for your knowledge, what are Covanta's plans to operate the facility such that it's no longer in a deficit?
Yeah, so the profitability of the facility, it has been running at a negative prior to 1857. But we had built up, and we knew that was the case, the power purchase agreement that expired in 2018 with Southern California Edison. We lost about 67% of the electric revenue from that. We went from about 12 cents a kilowatt hour down to 3 cents, so we sell in the day-ahead market. But also just the refuse coming in. That's also with the diversion credit going away, that's another half of the revenue stream. So it's pretty easy to see that the revenues don't align with the expenses. Covanta is willing to step in and try to see, they have access to different types of waste streams that aren't municipal solid waste. They get different pricing for that waste streams. They'll supplement that with the city's waste stream. This amendment tonight guarantees the city for the next 18 months its current rate to bring municipal solid waste to the surf facility, so that's not going to change. And they will, hopefully, electric rates are going up a little bit over the last year and a half, so they're betting on that as well. But they take that full risk upon themselves. We'll still have 3 employees there doing the oversight of the operations, and we're still liable to pay for our AB 32, our cap and trade credits for the waste that we do bring to surf. So we have the funds available. We've built those up over the years, and that will sustain us through June of 2024, and we will hopefully have a better decision made later this year on the future of surf and what it may or may not contemplate.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That satisfies council comments. We've done public comment. Members, please cast your vote.
Motion is carried.
Thank you. Item 21, please.
Report from Health and Human Services. Recommendation to authorize city manager to execute multiple contracts and subsequent amendments to provide intensive case management services for individuals and families who are matched with emergency housing vouchers in a total amount not to exceed $1,933,360 for a period of 1 year citywide.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any public comment here? Members, please cast your vote.
Motion is carried.
22, please.
Report from Health and Human Services. Recommendation to authorize city manager to execute all necessary documents with Centers for Disease Control and Prevention to accept and expend funding in an amount not to exceed $6,719,638 for enhancing the public health workforce and infrastructure.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any public comment here? Members, please cast your vote.
Motion is carried.
23.
Report from Human Resources, recommendation to adopt a resolution approving an exception to the 180-day waiting period for public agencies to hire Ms. Francine S. Wegelman citywide.
It's been moved and seconded. Any public comment? Members, please cast your vote.
Motion is carried.
24.
Report from Long Beach Airport, Recommendation to adopt specifications and award a contract to Laz Carp Associates for parking operations and management services at Long Beach Airport for a total contract amount not to exceed $4,045,092 for a period of 2 years, and authorize city manager to execute all documents necessary to amend contract with ABM Aviation to continue providing airport parking operations and management services until the Long Beach Airport transitions to a parking new contract for a total contract amount not to exceed $9,432,391, Districts 4 and 5.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any public comment? Members, please cast your vote. This is the next one.
Oh, can I make a comment?
Go, Councilwoman Kerr.
Yeah, I just wanted to acknowledge this is a change of vendor for this. Competitive proposals were had, 5 were made, and as we transition, the existing ABM employees at the airport will have the opportunity to apply for employment with the new vendor, and I want to thank and call out that.
Thank you.
Mayor, there is one public comment for this item.
On this item?
On this item, item 24.
Okay.
Conrad.
Okay, we're on item 23.
Oh, I'm sorry.
24. Well, what's on my screen is 23.
I believe we have finished
They got stuck on
23 and we're on
23?
24,
Yeah,
but it
we're on 24. Sorry.
wasn't changed.
All right, item 24. Does Conrad want to speak? Okay. Yes. Well, come on forward, Conrad.
Thank you. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, City Council. I'm Conrad Medola with Laz Parking, Regional Vice President for Los Angeles Long Beach, and very strong presence with the City of Long Beach, and really excited for this opportunity if we're lucky enough and fortunate enough to be awarded this contract. Your question about retaining employees, absolutely. It's a union contract, and seniority will be granted, and we will definitely retain all employees. If there's any other questions, I'm here.
Great. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Members, please cast your vote.
Motion is carried.
25.
Report from Parks, Recreation, and Marine. Recommendation to adopt a resolution authorizing city manager to execute any necessary documents to accept grant funds from the California Department of Parks and Recreation in an amount not to exceed $15,400,000 for capital improvements at El Dorado East Regional, El Dorado Park West, Houghton, and Stearns Parks, Districts 4 and 9.
Well, we don't need a staff presentation, but anytime we can accept $15.4 million to build parks, it should be acknowledged. Councilmember Rick Sodi, anything?
I was just going to say that you and I have had a shared vision for, particularly for North Long Beach, around an open space master plan that we worked on, and Houghton Park was one of those aspects that's on the open space master plan. We've had a lot of investments in that community, and a big ask has always been around the that playground at Houghton Park, and
That's
so it feels very good to be able to say yes.
That's right.
When community members contact us about that, and so I'm just elated to see the slate of investments in open space here in the city of Long Beach.
Councilmember Supernaw, anything?
Considering there are 2 4th District parks in this, I support it enthusiastically.
He doubled up on you, Johnny. Any public comment? Seeing none, members, please cast your vote.
Motion is carried.
All right, 26, please.
Report from Public Works. Recommendation to authorize city manager to execute all documents necessary to amend multiple agreements for on-call professional engineering and architectural services for the Long Beach Municipal Urban Stormwater Treatment Project for a revised total amount not to exceed $10,300,000, District 1.
Thank you. See one member of the public, Ann Toon. Is Ann in the building? Okay, seeing none, it's been moved and seconded. Members, please cast your vote.
Motion is carried.
Item 27, please.
Report from Public Works. Recommendation to adopt plans and specifications and award a contract to Powell Constructors for the I-605 Sound Wall Project for a total contract amount not to exceed $2,384,059, District 4.
We need a motion and a second. All right. Any public comment here? Members, please cast your vote.
Motion is carried.
Fantastic. That satisfies the agenda. We're now at general public comment number 2. Any member of the public would like to address the body? Now is the time. Any public comment? Seeing none, great. We'll now go to final announcements. New members, this is where you request to speak. We call on you and you give your final announcement. Show them how it's done, Councilwoman Sorrow.
Yes, sir.
Oh, wait, I see someone signed up. Dave Shukla, is he here? He's gone. Okay, great. Sorry, Councilwoman, please proceed.
Thank you. I just wanted to thank the community for bearing the storm, as Dr. King has throughout his life to fight for equality, justice, and peace. And, as I said before, prior to the event, the rain doesn't stop the dream. So I truly appreciate all the calls and emails of gratitude. It was a dream team effort. So I want to thank my staff, the MLK Advisory Committee, Tom Modica, special events and filming, Tasha, Leah, and the team, and all of the event supporter and over 70 gracious volunteer, as well as Tanya Martin. I just want to congratulate again to the 2022 and 2023 Grand Marshal, the 2023 Grand Marshal was Supervisor Hahn for her amazing work and leadership on Bruce Beach. 2022 Grand Marshal Assistant Manager Linda Tatum, Dr. Anissa Davis, and the Long Beach Section National Council Negro Women. Just want to thank my colleagues here as well as our mayor for being part of today's event or attempting to. If the rain didn't kind of had us end a little early there if you tried to come out. So just want to congratulate our Prairie honoree, which is Mayor Rex Richardson. We have an award for you that we're going to present to you at the festival, but it ended early. And our 2023 promoter of the Dream, Yvonne Wheeler, and promoter of the Dream, Dr. Naomi Rainey Pearson. She couldn't make it because of her husband's current health issue, so we want to keep them both in our prayer as he recover. I want to thank our wonderful commentators, Sharon McLucas and Carl Kemp. And just lastly, I just want to close on a quote by Dr. King that even though the storm closed, had us end the festival a little early, that we must accept finite disappointment but never lose infinite hope. Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Rick Sodi.
I just wanted to uplift the citywide community budget meetings that are going to be commencing just in a couple of days. And particularly, I wanted to uplift to North Long Beach residents the meeting on Tuesday, January 31st from 6 to 7:30 that will be held at the Michelle Obama Library. We want to invite you all out to be engaged, and make sure you're sharing your vision for what our city priorities are going to be in this new upcoming fiscal year.
All right, well, that satisfies council announcements. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a good night. The meeting is now adjourned.